Good morning and welcome to the last, match episode breakdown of this week. Obviously, this is Sunday's matches. This is LAG versus Surge, Thieves versus Minnesota, and Atlanta versus Toronto. This was the Sunday night matches. There's only 3 of them. They were actually pretty good to watch. All my pick'ems are wrong from yesterday, so every single prediction I did yesterday, obviously excluding my team, was wrong. I thought that Seattle was going to win this, and I thought Minnesota was going to lose this, and I was completely wrong. These matches, yes, totally went the opposite of how everyone thought they were going to go, or at least I thought they were going to go. So with this one was the one that, like, even though it went the opposite of the way we thought, like, look, keys to victory. I thought Seattle Surge was going to win this. The reason why I said this is, yes, Seattle is obviously a very inconsistent team. It's just plain and simple. They come out, they beat Atlanta FaZe. They come out, they look good to Optic, and then they come out, and then they lose to LAG. And although LAG is a very talented team who also tends to be inconsistent, like, LAG's got fucking heavy hitters on their team. They got Hook, they got Slasher, they got Asim, they got, like, Gunlist. Like, they're a good team, right? They're a good team. I don't know. Like, it's just... So it's like losing this team is not like, oh my god, like, you suck. But it's just weird because, like, the Seattle Surge team was, like, looking on the up. They play a really good series against Optic, like, close battle. And then they come out and they look a little flat. So we're going to get into this after the keys to victory. But the last question that I'm going to answer before we go, like, into breakdown mode is actual question: what counts more, winning every major but losing the world championship, or losing all the majors and winning the world championship? The world championship by far is the most important win of the year. You can win every major. If we won every major last year and then won the world championship and lost the world championship, that is, no one gives a fuck. Bro, the world championship is where every team is most practiced, most consistent, most fucking dedicated. The longest time to get the game under their belt. It's the last tournament of the year. Everyone knows the game to a T. If you don't win that tournament, you are not the best at that game at the time where it matters the most. And if that's the case, you don't win. Like, if for example, we won 3 majors last year and lost 2 of them. If we won those 3 majors, finished in first place, had the best fucking season, the best, I think we had, like, the best record the league has ever seen so far. But we didn't win that world championship last year. That season's a fucking bust and no one gives a fuck about it. That's how I believe it. You don't remember, like, I mean, Atlanta FaZe was number 1 in MW. We were first in MW. We didn't win the world championship. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, that's just silly. That's just silly. Winning the world championship is by far more important in my opinion. And I don't know. I can't even see it another way. I used to think the other way around back in the day, but the more and more I think about it, especially since the world championship, instead of being in the middle of the year, went to the end of the year, it's just different. And also how prepared people are nowadays. You got coaching staffs and you got everything else. Like, that is the long haul. That is the big one. Like, we lost Major 5 last year, and that, like, we all sat there, was like, it's all good. Like, we're, we got to get back and win the fucking world championship. Like, that's just what it was. Like, that wasn't our world championship, so when we lost, we didn't break down because of it. You know what I mean? Like, the majors are important. We've went through this on this podcast a bunch. The majors are very important. And they're still, like, the real deal. And winning a major is impressive in its own sense. But it will never be as important as winning the Super Bowl of Call of Duty. Like, the main one. Like, I don't know. I think that's pretty just, like, easy to just kind of predict. I don't know. So, yeah. All right. Okay, breakdown mode. Here we go. So, Seattle Surge. Sib and Pred continue to get back to form. Sib 1.12, Pred 1.1K first Optic. Berlin Hardpoint battle. LAG is 4-2 this season. Seattle's coming off a 265. Like this is so weird. Like, being 4-2 in Berlin is impressive, right? Seattle beating like us in this is, like, obviously impressive. Like, they smoked us on this map. Don't get me wrong, but 1 second. LAG, Seattle. Seattle is 1-3 in Berlin, and the only team that they've beaten on Berlin Hardpoint is Atlanta FaZe, and Atlanta FaZe is, like, considered a weak Berlin Hardpoint team. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't know if that, like, means a Berlin Hardpoint battle. You know what I mean? Like, that, I don't know if that, like, it justifies the Berlin Hardpoint battle there, but I don't know. Anyway. Improve man down conversion. And although we're considered a weak Berlin Hardpoint team, by the way, like obviously we've talked about it. Like our scrims look better than how we played in matches, but still at the end of the day, we're looking weak when it matters. So we have to fucking figure it out. But improved man down conversion, 11th in 4v3 win percent. Okay. And then keys to victory here. Have to get back to the hardpoint success. Have lost 5 of the last 6 hardpoints. 11th in break percentage. Yeah, I agree with this 100%. Like this actually was weird for them considering they're supposed to be a good hardpoint team and like kind of struggle in search, and now they're struggling in hardpoint, which is an issue. Hit Tuscan Hardpoint with the hot veto. Seattle 3-9 on non-Tuscan hardpoints. Okay. Be prepared for Seattle's fast A pushes on Berlin SND. Seattle going fast to the A site on 40% of their offensive rounds. Okay. All right, so we move forward. We get into the fucking vetoes here. So, the vetoes. Seattle bans Berlin. My point, what I was kind of talking about, like, yeah, just because you beat a team that's considered to be weak on Berlin Hardpoint, I don't know if you just square up with the team's best Berlin Hardpoint, you know? Like, I don't know if that means you're, like, ready to fucking start throwing it out there in a pretty important match. So, that's why I didn't think we were going to see that, to be honest. So... But at the same time, like, they have been, I feel like Seattle has been vetoing Gavutu, so, like, maybe, like, I don't know, maybe they could have thrown that in there. I'm not too sure. I don't know their scrim sheets. I don't know their practice sheets and stuff, so who knows. They get rid of Bocage. That makes total sense. Just because, you know, Seattle's good at Tuscan, they're also good at Bocage, and if, you know, LAG is not confident on Bocage, you get rid of it, so fair enough. LAG gets rid of Bocage. There's your Siege. Yeah. And then they get rid of Tuscan, they play Gav. Okay. You know, simple enough vetoes. And here we go. So, Tuscan Hardpoint. Tuscan Hardpoint here is definitely, you know, the favorite map for Seattle. And this was like a kind of pick your poison thing, right? You either play Bocage or Tuscan versus Seattle. And you're probably, like, you know, you're probably in the sense like, it's like not your map to win, that's your map to steal if you're LAG, and Seattle Surge is obviously the most confident on these two maps. So this map being in here is definitely, in my opinion, Seattle's map to win. Just off like the statistics and stuff, you know, that doesn't always like stand true. Of course, there's more to statistics, everything. The numbers don't tell the whole story all the time. You guys know that. But yeah, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure LAG like looked really weird at this map. Like at a time, I want to skip through like we'll listen in a second. Yeah, so it was like right around there. That's what I remember. Okay, so we'll watch it from like right here, and then we'll do the listening too. So this next set of rotations where LAG like falls off.
Driving seat at the moment as we head into this second rotation. I guess it's about that time. Let's go for a listening.
All right, listening time. And you can just see really quick too, like this listening, they get out rotated to this P1. And if you don't perform the correct break, this P1 can be a really easy money hill. So let's see.
The LA Guerrillas.
I'm trying to get backfield. Are you up middle?
I got one in the mid. I'm going mid.
I see mid. Trying to push our side down.
He's in you.
Back one on our side. Beyond our fucking tree. Beyond our tree.
Two on point.
Top green Dante, weak top church.
Need a time.
Weak top church. One is push up on our block here. One is push up on our block.
Can you help me get out mid?
He's top church.
He's
still push up on tree.
He's one shot.
Only one point.
I need a point.
I got a nade
point too.
I got a nade on point.
I got native. Lamar's on point. Lamar's on point.
He saw me.
Maybe got it.
You can go right.
I got native again, bro.
Someone help me mid.
I'll try to help you in middle. I'm nading point.
Top right track.
Give me a sec.
Top right track.
I didn't have my point.
There's two in rotation. Only
Oh, so we got top church.
Got
Nothing middle. Nothing middle, boys.
Trying to help you, bro.
He's close hold, Pred.
Fine throw hold here. Trying to help you.
He's one shot.
We're up here.
One shot rolled.
Got me. One top church as well. One is top church as well.
Alright, Pred was one he had.
That's second time. Try to get the guy pulled here.
Got a nade on it.
Lamar got it. He won you. Lamar got it. He won you.
I'm trying to help you, our side.
Got you, bro. Got heavy. Lamar dead. Still playing right. Still playing right.
You dead.
Nice, two. Still playing right now.
We can touch top green dome.
One right. P5. He's inside P5. Inside P5. Mac weak. Church. Mac is inside P5. Start inside P5.
P5 dead.
I'm nading rails.
Holding our pinch. They back heading Lamar weak.
And then Morels.
Back left weak. Yeah,
Really,
Back left Eddie.
It could
Back left Eddie. Lamar. Dad got him. Back left Eddie. Another one. Go back alley. Back alley.
got needed.
Back one boat on the back heading. One guy's
One push up rails,
push
push
out,
up rails.
Screen steps. Backside time.
One
Yeah,
is
just close time. I'm needing time.
Well,
All right. So we're going to go back. So that listening sounded fine. Like, I guess, you know, like it wasn't the worst listening. It wasn't like an elite listening either. But like, I wanted to just like highlight like the reason why they fell apart, in my opinion. Like, so look, going back, like skipping forward to right here. Like, so this is what we were talking about. They fell apart on this P1 rotation. And this P2, by the way, is also, you know, a pretty easy hold a lot of the times. And just in general, like, if you don't get any time on this P1 and they have spawns for P2, you can get fucking beat down on Tuscan. Like, it's very possible to happen. So you kind of see that, like, happen here. But, like, tell me if you guys think I'm wrong. You know, from the outside looking in, it just looks confusing. So, like, Asim gets this first blood here. And just, like, look how separate this team is on this break. Like, they're trying to perform a break. Like, look at it. So, like, obviously this guy's watching him. So, Asim gets the intro on the pinch. So, he turns number 2 around. Like, everyone is, like, I feel like they're, like, stuck in the mud. And then not only are they stuck in the mud, they all go, like, a separate way. Like, look. Like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, they're all, like, separate, like... It looks weird. It looks like they take forever to make a play. And then when they do it, they just do it, like, all, like, look. One-on-one, one-on-one. Like, even though this was, like, actually, this would be a 1-on-2, realistically. But, like, he gets shot in the back by himself, just, like, going through the middle of the map by himself. Like, I know he's trying to help him, but still, like, there's no pressure where, for example, hypothetically speaking, if he slides in here and they're both looking his way, he's dead. You know what I mean? That's, like, my point. This guy takes, like, a 1-on-1, and even if he slides in and wins one, like, he's, like, all the way out of the place. It just, like, looks weird, and then Asim, like, tries to, like, re-pinch the guy top church, and Zib makes a really good play by picking that up, to be honest. But just in general, like... It just looked like they were, like, weird, slow, and separate. I don't know. And then, like, even, like, look at here. Like, they're, like, the top church guy just shuts them down, so that's fine. And then, like, they're going to perform, like, one last break. And it still looks like... That's what I'm saying. Like, one person's rotating, like, super early. But then they're hitting scrap time, but then, like, it's like... You know what I mean? Like, they're still separate. This guy challenges on his own. You know what I mean? Like, it just looks, like, so, like, separate. I don't know. So that was the one thing I like, noticed, like, in their gameplay. Is it looked very separate and stuck in the mud. And that's not usual for LAG. That's why, like, I'm highlighting it. Because, like, obviously, you know, Slasher and all these guys are fucking some of the, you know, smartest players in Call of Duty. They know not to play like that. So it's just, like, very interesting that their team push was so, like... kind of flustered. It was just like weird. And then after that, you know, they get fucking beat down on this P2. And like now, even if they like try and make a comeback, it doesn't fucking matter. They're going to lose the map. So I don't know. That just looked like a couple of mistakes in the sense of like just going together as a team. And then it just like led to them getting kind of fucking beat down on Tuscan. But at the end of the day, like Seattle Surge's Bocage and Tuscan, it was like picking your poison. You lose a map. If you're LAG and you're actually like thinking, you're like, it's all good. That was their map anyway. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like you very, very easy to bounce back from losing that map to Seattle just because like that is literally the one map you're probably supposed to lose in the series. I know you're not supposed to think like that as a competitor. And I'm not saying you should think like that as a competitor, but it's not the end of the world is all I'm saying to lose like their best hardpoint. You know, there's another hardpoint in the series. And you have plenty of time to do that. So, not the end. That's all like I was trying to like highlighting. And then here is like where you would be a little bit scared if you were you know, a what's it called? If you were an LAG fan. What's LAG's search record on this? They are 3-4 in Berlin. So they're definitely comfortable playing Berlin. And then, you know, Seattle's 5-4 on Berlin. So both teams are like very comfortable on Berlin, but not elite at the map in the sense where they lose it a lot, but they also play it a lot. So like this is a good map for both of them. It's just like sometimes LAG can look a little like iffy in search. So I thought that's why you'd be a little scared. But they played this pretty well and they bounced back. See if like were there any crazy things that I'm missing right now? Like there was no like super crazy plays, right? There was just like in general some pretty good play. Like just like this was like a pretty standard map. Like no crazy clutches if I don't remember. All right, let me turn this up really quick. This is a good play out of Hook. Right, Hook takes this all the way to B. He plants the bomb. He just leaves Lamar in a really hard spot. Like, or not Lamar, sorry, Sib. He leaves Sib in a really hard spot to clutch that. That was a good play. That was a big, like, you know, one-on-one clutch. T Ward, thank you very much for that resub. I appreciate you.
Just giving up a top fire. Sees nothing yet, but it is going to be Seattle Surge about to break into this A. Get in eventually. The team gets first blood onto Sib. That bomb is now going down though. Surge choose to try and plant here and play the 3v4.
How quick can Hook get behind? Are they going to be watching it? It looks like that is not going to come into fruition. At least as LAG back on down and will just hit this. I will say accuracy is deep. He is watching the.
Right, this is the first time you're chat. You are a coach. What? Yeah, okay. That was good plays. Again, LAG's just kind of clutching up.
Basically just meant he couldn't do anything. Like there was nothing he could do. It was so far away from him as well. But a team opens up on this round. And accuracy's in the open. And that nade's gonna get him as well. That's a
Like here though, like this is like, you know, this is like good plays at LAG. Like they spread the map, but like look how decisive these two are to hit it. And like he hits outer by himself and Lamar is like looking middle. This guy is just so solo for an A hit. So if an A hit does come, like they're not like look. This guy is just fucked. And Lamar's like not even able to actually help him from like where they are. So like he just gets separated here and they pick him apart. They now know Lamar's over there. So then ASIM's going to turn the corner with a grenade, hit him with a couple bullets, get an easy kill. Boom, bomb down. This round's over. So that was just, you know, really smooth play. They pick apart their setup, you know, find that guy that's solo out in A and just take control of that site. That was really good play. They like exposed the teamwork of like not being fully there for Seattle there. Oh, ASIM screwed, yeah. Jeez, dude.
This takes down Mac. Yeah, no, you can't. I don't think they knew exactly where he was, but Mac just has a little look. 3v2 now.
So now they know where Sib is. Sib just goes huge. So Sib just goes big there. And that's like the thing. When that bomb goes down, dude, when that bomb goes down, like, it's so hard to win. Like, you know Sib's there, but he's going to be super aware. It's like, it's a very hard, like, retake. Sib just wins those important gunfights that he needs to, and then obviously just like sets the tone for Seattle to win that round.
You're in a world of trouble. Yes, if you are, of course, the Seattle Surge. They eventually do get around underneath their belt, get a first blood here. So we head into round number.
B is so hard to retake, yeah, exactly.
Things on the up here for Seattle Surge.
Looks like they're going towards A at the moment. The team trying to play around this site, see if he can find anybody here with the auto. Through that back window. There are so many Seattle Surge players here. I don't know if he knows. He's gonna find one on the outside. Just because they're gonna wait. He might be challenged. No, they choose to let him go. Big fight and fire. Hugh's actually gonna take down accuracy, and that is gonna throw Seattle Surge through a little bit of a.
How did that just happen? 1 second, sorry. So they're playing like a super heavy D. Like, I like this play at LAG. So like, as they're like making all this noise on B and like, you know, fighting and doing all this shit, like LAG's spreading the map, and like when you have all this noise on B and you're getting the info like, yo, there's 2B, like there's a bunch of shit going B. One person's watching the cross. Like, look at the gap that Hook is able to find. And he also has a teammate like helping him work this gap. Like, look at the look over here where Hook is now able to find a kill and look for this guy that's shooting at it and just get this easy kill. Like, this is perfect. And then they play it so well where like Hook's probably sitting there saying like, yo, I'm in their spawn. I'm gonna get a kill. Like, he goes through here, and then the bomb carrier, which is ASIM's like, yo, I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? I'm going straight to A. Because most likely they're thinking that like A is going to be open. They're going to have a pinch on this bomb site. They're going to able to be, if like there is someone here, they're going to be able to work it out. So like, this is really good plays out of LAG here. It looks like the communication is just on point. And you skip forward. They win that gunfight. Now they're in a 3v2. It's just basically from there, it becomes just like, you know, tough.
to go for, and Hugh's looking for him. He doesn't know exactly for this. Pred again, surely he's not going to challenge. No, this bomb will now go down.
And then, yeah. That was just like, again, a big clutch out of Kyler, but that round being able to be extended to that 1v1 was like all because of the communication of LAG. You know what I mean? Like, of course, you're going to have searches that go to 1v1s and stuff, but like, yeah, that was just really, like, just well played. Communication looked good. The mid-round adjustment looked good. The calls looked good. Like, that was good. That was just good. All around. Hook was having his way. Yeah, he's playing well.
Looking for a plant towards B. Trying to figure out exactly who's in this area at the moment. Lots of checks coming from both sides. Sasha, I don't think saw him cross. I don't know if his teammate did. They're looking for Sib at the back now. Problem last time around.
I mean, that's why, like, I mean, we've seen quite a lot of times both these teams have been positioning players inside of B, but I think it's just to stop the plant because you know how influential the
That was like a second away from being a great play, and then he like just checked the bomb kind of wrong. That sucks.
What, I would say 13 times or something like that, and this is out of their whole season so far. So very, very much it is mostly down to the A side for Seattle Surge, but they're making B wait for them. It's found themselves back into this game, but now in a bit of an awkward situation in the next round.
Yeah, even Mac having a little bit of peekaboo there. Can be able to get it. Hugh could try maybe to make a little bit of a play himself. Gonna go through the door and gonna go down.
And then, yeah. So what I was going to say is, like, this round here, even though this is like a ballsy play and they kind of almost like walk into a trap, just having 3 people together and doing something decisive is just smart. Like, they like, look, this is a risky play, but it's going to work. If they see nothing at A, they say, like, we're going to hit through together as a team. Like, look how decisive this looks. Of course, they almost run into a trap and it's like, uh-oh, like, it's an awkward position. If they were to triple out hit here, they get this kill. They're able to sneak through here and get this kill. Like, this is just like a pretty aggressive, but like communicated and coordinated play out of Seattle, and then they're able to get these kills. So, like, that was a solid call. I respect that. 4v1. Obviously, he's not winning that.
By the wayside, Seattle Surge looking like a confident push. This may be the fast A that we've spoken about. Going straight for this as well. See Hugh, I think he saw him through the window there. That call's probably come through as well. Let's keep an eye on accuracy because he will have seen how many players went over towards A. That will dictate whether or not Surge actually want to take.
So now, like, and just the difference of like the setup between Seattle and LAG. Like, remember how Mac was all the way up here by himself, like by the outer door, like able to be singled out from this doorway over here, and also the outer door where Lamar was not able to help him out. Like, just look at the difference between this setup and that setup. Like, yeah, it's kind of the same thing where Slasher's not really able to help out, but the thing is like no one can push Kyler's close right without number 8 like being able to, like, you know, kind of strafe out and help out just from over this angle. And like Kyler's not like being able to be shot from multiple angles. That's like the big difference here, is just like the way this setup looks. I don't even know how this plays out this round. I don't remember, but it just looks a little bit more like, you know, just a little bit more like perfected, I guess is the word to use.
Looks like he is on the other side of the window though, so won't be able to take any damage from that one in particular, but they know there will be somebody inside the site, and if there's anybody inside of a site that you want to challenge, Hook is probably not top of the list of people you would want to be there. We're going to try and find the pick, but the longer that linger on this one, the longer that LAG have a better position to be found to try.
And just like this just in general is like LAG is like spreading the map, but like they haven't done any damage at either site, so the guy on B is not going to give it up. You know what I mean? Like, they're over at A, and like Slasher and Hook are probably saying like, yo, they're at A, they're at A, they're at A. But like, they're not in A. They haven't done anything at A. They just see people A. So like, number 7's not going to give up his site, you know? So now you wrap back to number 7. It's like you're almost like wrapping back into a trap because you haven't done enough at any site to wrap back. So like, this wrap back doesn't help you, and you don't get any kind of control over here either. Like, look, it's just tough. Like, Mac's trying to cross by himself, and like Mac, like, you know, Mac getting that kill is like, not luck, but like in a sense, like, you know, a blessing, because like look at the bomb and look at their setup. Like, they didn't catch anyone off guard here, and like now the bomb's down and like no one's even there to help Mac cross. Like, Mac just tried to cross this bomb by himself without any help. Like, I wonder what the call was there, but like I guess they thought they caught him off guard, but that's like that's probably not going to work in the sense of like how they did that. And then yeah, they're in like obviously this retake situation. They're looking for him. 1v3, it's chalked. Then they go up 5-3. Again, LAG just looks like, you know, they just look composed. They look like they know what they're doing. They're not giving up stupid lanes. LAG's playing the search really
This
well.
is the one that are kind of banking on finding something here with the scope. Although at the same time, CL really not offering anything in the form of an opportunity here for Gunless. Stone over, open things up, maybe over to
Let's get forward.
just about survives. that
Asim gets
grenade.
the first blood at B.
The second one is Matt gets
Now they actually collapse on B again.
that's now gonna be the
And still like this timing's tough.
This bomb is
But
gonna
getting these kills, just like it just, you know,
go as Gunless find accuracy.
they know exactly how to make this work, and then he's not clutching this 1v3. So I don't know. Overall, that search and destroy just looked like LAG was just ready. You know what I mean? Like they were ready. They weren't giving up lanes. They weren't letting any stupid shit like, you know, work. No fakes, no nothing. Just fucking making it work. I don't know. Alrighty. Here we go. So Gavutu control.
A little bit tricky for both of them. It seems though opens it up.
All right. We're gonna skip through a lot of the Gavutu control right now with the way it's played with kills. Is kind of like eh. But like, you know, you skip through this and like the defensive plays here for LAG, they end this up, and like right here, you should like, you know, you set yourself up like you're up 6 kills. That's good. That's good play. And then here, like, you know, if I remember correctly, I don't think anything was too crazy. This is the stupid shit though, like we were talking about. This is why I don't want to really watch this map. It's like LAG goes up 6 kills. They don't get a good break. They're all just gonna camp. You see? They're only down 2. Like, even though you lose this round, like, this isn't that big of a deal. Like, again, this is, you know, well played. And even though, like, again, they all sit in their base, the problem is that if Seattle does give you the kills, like, which they do, like, look. Sorry to back it up. If Seattle does give you the kills, like, you see how number 4 is running, number 1's challenging, like, look. If Seattle does give you these kills, you can get out to A and then skip forward and actually get on A. The last round was crazy. Yeah. We'll watch the last round. And even that, like, not the end of the world because LAG is able to make that decision of like, hey, we can make this push, and even if we like get 4 wiped, we're still going to be even in kills. So I can't wait for ticks because it's just way better. But yeah. Then you skip forward again. LAG's playing defense. You're watching this. So LAG actually gets smoked on this defense in the sense of kills, and then you see how this ends right here. This is really good for Seattle to bounce back, and then you go back and forth. You know, Seattle takes the kills again. So LAG loses the battle. LAG loses the battle for last round defense. And now we're gonna watch this last round. Skip forward to the break. So really quick, right now, in my opinion, with Gavutu control, since it's not played for ticks, I feel like one of the only way, like, trust me, this happened in my match too, and I wasn't happy about it. The only really way you can win an offense right now is by getting either doing damage at B right away, or getting on B right away, or capping B right away. You know what I mean? Because if you do damage at B right away, after then you can cap A pretty easily, and then once you cap A and there's 2 ticks done on B, you have a few pushes to like complete 1 tick, or you can just get a lot of kills. Because if you're on B and you're stopping the clock and getting a lot of kills while you're stopping the clock, you can drain their lives too. So, in my opinion, this break off from Seattle in a kill-based control, which is about to change, is just fucking terrible. We did the same thing, by the way. Like, what? Like, the only way LAG could probably win this round is if they go B off the rip and cap B, or do damage at B, or, you know, like, just fuck your setup at B. Like this, you see what I mean?
Sometimes this B hit can just transition into something over towards it. If you can find the kills up top right, you can maybe make the moves, but Pred, it's a classic angle. I'm not really sure why anybody.
Like, look, and now, like, look at this team. Like, look, if they get on B here, what they're doing, this is just so scary because now they're about to do damage at B. The lives are even. The game is at a start, and you're fucked. I don't know how important like a push like this will be in the sense of tick base, because obviously you just want to get like the 3 guaranteed ticks at A and then to go to B kind of thing. So we'll see how like the meta really forms when people start practicing that way. But in a kill based game last round, the only way they're probably going to win that offense is just like getting damage done at B. And now they get that first tick. They're doing this best, but like in my opinion here, the damage is done. This is all. This has now just become winnable for LAG if they cap A. Especially you can deplete it, but still 2 ticks instead of 3 is all the world of a difference in the sense of like when you get that last push that finally breaks through. So here we go.
It's going to slow him down. You can find this kill on a Pred, then all of a sudden it becomes very, very difficult. Get across. Not quite good shots from Pred. Important shots from Pred. But ultimately that be attack does result in maybe just a take, but you have to be careful not to get forced into your spawn here. LAG still have men on the map.
So now they're depleting it. That's fine.
Is going to be huge for the team.
And now they're doing the push at A, which makes sense. I feel like OT plays the same whether it's kill based or tick based. Oh yeah, no, I misworded what I said, by the way. Like I'm talking about like in like the earlier rounds. Obviously the last round of control, it's like if they don't do damage at B, you should be able to win this, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So like the last round obviously has nothing to do with ticks or kills, Red. I just meant like in this last round I was explaining that, but I'm curious to see how it plays out like in the future of the offenses, like you know, in a 1-1 offense is what I meant. My bad. You're right. I definitely worded that right. I was thinking it, but I didn't like speak that correctly. But yeah, you're right. But yeah, like look. So like now they're doing this A shit. They're gonna cap A. And like by the time they cap A, this is always scary. So like look. Really quick, we're gonna back it up from here, my bad. Actually back it up a little bit more, my bad. Sorry. Like right here, like look. It's 18-18. And LAG is getting all these kills. Seattle is just like Seattle's pressuring A over and over and over again.
Last real roll of the dice for LAG. They're going to have to make sure they lock down A. And then see if they can somehow transition back to B. They haven't done it so far in this game. But never say never.
Yeah, they got rid of Pred in their spawn, so now
Nice shots.
look at this.
Get forward. They're still pressuring A. Still pressuring A.
Good job of it at the moment. Huge
Still pressuring A.
to just put them
And of course, like, if you win this, you might potentially win the game. So I understand why you're pressuring A. But the risk here is if you lose it, you're in a fucking bad position.
all down.
And what I mean by this is, look,
Won't go at all, though. Eventually they will. They slash to the rescue. Two.
it's like a big risk, and I respect the risk. So, like, this isn't anything to critique. Like, now look, since they've lost it,
Snatch that one. Okay.
they have 7 lives now. All that pressuring, like, you know, like when it was 18-18, now it's 7-10 with a minute left. It's like now since they lost that risk, not only is there a tick on B, so it's more winnable in that sense, it's just winnable by getting one more push to kills. You see what I mean? So like all of that investment into the A point leads them to like, you know, it's like, uh-oh. Like that was a high risk, high reward. You win the map, but also high risk. You could fuck yourself and lose the map, you know? So it's like, hindsight speaking, if they just don't push that and they just play 18-18 lives, 2 ticks is still doable. And like, you know, if they had 2 ticks on B, it might be a little different. But it's just like, yeah, now it's like, uh-oh, you know, fuck. 7 lives, a minute left, like we cannot fucking die.
I'll tell you something. Not
And then like you watch this play, like look, Fred dies, now they have 6 lives.
slash around the back.
Fred dies again.
As well. Gets out of there. Trying to play his life on full.
And now there's 48 seconds left and it's like you don't have lives. It's just like, dude,
Into the guns.
it's tough, man.
40
You know?
seconds left. This could be
Do you think it's worth chalking A there is like basically like my point. There's like that's where like decision making and control is like so important. Of course we have the hindsight.
to give anything away. It might be a big hit from LAG there.
Of course we have the hindsight of like, you know, well they should have chalked it or they shouldn't have chalked it, you know what I mean? I'm talking about like in the moment though. You know? They invest the risk to try and win and they don't end up getting that. And now since they don't end up getting that, it's just like their lives are getting dwindled. It's like, you know, a 3-on-6 here with 20 seconds left. Like, yeah, it's very doable. All you got to do is shut down one push with 3 people. It's been done plenty of times before, obviously. But this is, to win a defense, you never want to be in this position if you're Seattle.
Only gonna be hit left to spawn the time. They don't have the time, surely.
You see what I mean? And then, like, again, it's just tough. They just end up winning those fights and stopping the time. So it's just tough. Yeah.
The reinforcements are coming in as well.
Why didn't they take ring control at the end of the round? They just turtled their spawn because they had 7 lives. They all knew like they didn't want to fucking die. Coaching other teams for free. This is not coaching other teams. This is like, again, what I break down on this show is like common sense to other pros. Again, like this is hindsight common sense because trust me, this is the most common sense of all time. what if you wanted to like go like in depth of like actually coaching teams and like, you know, talking about game plans and like how to actually win consistently and more in that, like that is just so much more in depth. It's not even fucking close. So yeah, no, that like that decision right there of being made, it's like, you know, what do you do there? And that's just like the tough stuff. And also, we're talking about a game mode that's going to completely change here in about, hopefully, a couple days. I mean, I hope they're fucking right about that. But yeah, dude, that was just tough with the investment. All right. Here we go. Gavutu Hardpoint. So this is what I was talking about before. Like, Seattle Surge has been vetoing this map a lot. And LAG, like, you know, I'm assuming LAG is comfortable on this just because of the fact that, like, Gunless and Slasher, you know, like, this team makes sense, like, on this map in the sense of, like, the items that they have on this team in the sense of, like, their players. So you would think, like, this is a map that, like, LAG would win.
LAG is more often banned than not. Can they get it done here, though, against Seattle Surge, or can Seattle Surge force that map? Well, based on that, probably not. How things are kicking off is all LAG 4 down, forcing into the spot.
Sheesh, bro. This guy's a fucking beast.
Goodness, 6 HP in a dream and 3 kills alongside of it.
Well, certainly feeling themselves. They continue to put the pressure on here. LAG have dominated ring so far. I think Seattle Surge will go for one last roll of this before they go over towards boat. Nades coming through as well. Seattle Surge.
LAG smoked London on Gav Hardpoint, so I'm guessing they're pretty good at it. Yeah, I mean, I'm just talking about if you're just looking at it, like, just very, like, you know, blindly, you would just think a team that Gunless and Slasher on, even, like, without looking at the stats, would be pretty good at this map. What's their record on Gavutu? They're 1-1. They're 1-1 on Gavutu. They ran 4 ARs most of the game. Yeah, that's what they do. That's, like, their game plan. That's what they do. That's, like, their game plan here. So skipping forward. Let's see. Let's see the turning point of the game here. We'll listen in a second. Yeah, so that's the turning point of the game. So let's listen to listening first. All right.
They're tank, one shot, okay? I have the barrel. Wait, there's one shot. They're two there. He call it one bullet. One more. I'm looking mid. I naded it. Got me low green. He's challenging the right side barrel. I hit him with the nade. Top green. Top green. Slasher dead. One was right there. I'm hitting the ring stairs. I needed time. Hitting the ring stairs. Ring stairs. Left side time. Sliding out. Top green. Top green. Top green and sim. Aiming top left. Tetris. Front green. One shot. Tetris. One shot. Front green. Barrel challenge. Right side. Low barrel. Austin. Last guy. P5 Tetris weak. I hit him twice. I'm in here. Alright, I'll help him. One shot. I don't know. Hear that. I don't see him. I got one shot. Oh, three old. One's gonna push through. I'm trying to get your ring stairs. Nothing their side. 3 old. I got your ring stairs, okay? Yeah, I'm gonna play pinch. Okay, I'm holding mid. Look, one's their ring stairs. Yeah, one shot green too. I'm needing the ring stairs. I'm top right. I got one, two their ring stairs, one shot. Okay, come over there. I need it over. Need it on the stairs. I'm coming up. Top up, dead. There's two there. I'm coming down. Our side down. Yeah. One shot. One shortcut. I'm coming down. Shortcut collar. Do their side weak, okay? Okay. Red dead. One more gonna chop me. I'm staying alive. I'm nading over. I'm nading Tom as well. Over as well. Alright, I'm rapping. I'm flanking. I stunned over. Dead. I'm with you, man. I stunned him. I'm nading. Only one time I think. Only one time. Low left, sim. Low left, one shot. Asim's low left and one's outer ring. Rotate. One's gonna be new. He's gonna be 5. I'm gonna wrap.
Fast and
All right.
furious communication there from Seattle.
So that communication sounded fine. That sounded good. But that break that LAG performed is like what is able to, like, you know, it forces Seattle to rotate at 30 seconds left. And like literally at 30 seconds left, like it forces them to rotate, and then like they have to give up 30 seconds. They give it to LAG. And again, you can rotate this, so that does not mean like a guaranteed hold on a hill like P2. Sometimes like P2, like, if you do the break right, like you can probably break it. So it just sucks that they're able to force them into that rotation and like almost throw them into a Gavutu blender. Because again, look at like LAG's on all angles. And you could shut this down, but it's still just like a tougher hold than it seems like that. Obviously, Civ winning big gunfights makes it a little bit easier, but still, that was just like well played out of LAG in order to perform that P1 break. Because that P1 hill could be a money hill. So like Seattle winning that rotation was huge, and then Seattle almost, you know, like kind of dropping the ball there was huge for LAG to obviously, like, you know, mount that lead. So if they don't end up performing this break, they're still into this game like they are right now. So hold up. But again, LAG is still controlling the pace of this game. They're still controlling the pace of this game right here. They still have the P3 rotation. They still have the P3 spawn. So even though they did a really, really good job of, you know, forcing that rotation and holding that P2, like, this is good stuff. And if you're LAG here in this situation, look at the spawns. You're happy if you're LAG. Because we always talk about this. Being in this hill first is obviously, it is what it is. It's very hard to kill someone out of that tank. We've seen that multiple times throughout the year. Like, dude, being in this hill first, LAG don't give a fuck that they spawn back there now. They're in the hill. Like, yeah, you lose the spawns, but like, dude, it don't matter. Now you're able to control this and then also potentially control this. This is actually a pretty crazy play out of Pred. But in LAG's mind right now, they don't give a fuck that they flipped. You know, but like, obviously, they don't realize that he gets through. So that was a good play to Pred to flip their team and put them in a position like this. So Pred makes a really good route to flip them. So LAG thought they were about to fucking end the game right then and there. Like, you know, control this and then control that. But they end up getting flipped by Pred. Pred makes a good play. He flips them. He you know, puts Lamar in a position to be all the way out here on this hill, which is actually pretty crazy if you think about it. You could tell they were thrown off. Yeah. And then it's just tough, dude. Here, LA, you know, Seattle was in such a good spot. Their setup gets like picked apart, and now it's like fucking tough, dude. And now you're fucked. Not like completely fucked, but like now you're in a spawn trap. They can almost win off the spawn trap. You don't have P5 spawns. Now you're in a bad spot. Like, losing that hold is where you don't want to be. So, like, Seattle just cannot lose that hold. And as soon as they lose this hold, it's just really tough. Because even if you break through this, it doesn't really matter. Because this is the situation for LAG. You see, like, they're nowhere near this hill. They're going to get at least 10 seconds uncontested. And then getting that 10 seconds uncontested is going to leave them at 240. You know, it's just... Then you focus, you know, you like, you know, go forward. Like, that's the 10 seconds uncontested. Yes, Seattle does a good job of getting some kills there, but it doesn't really matter because look, before number 4 can even do anything, even if he wins this fight, it would, like, you know, Seattle, like, they were like right there, you know. It's just like, it was just tough for Seattle to get, like, you know, that lose that hold, spawn all the way across the map, and then that P5 rotation basically being impossible. And then, boom. So that's the series for Seattle. I don't know. I'll take general questions about Seattle and stuff and all that. Are you on a blow it up train like Aches? I know we talk about this all the time with Seattle. I'm not on the blow it up train. I know I'm definitely more on the side of, like, you know, practice and actually working through your mistakes. It's a very, very possible thing. I've done it in my career. I've done it with teams. I've done it while coaching teams. Like, I've watched teams get better. I've watched teams go from my team go from a really bad hardpoint team in a specific map to one of the best. So it's like very, very possible to get better through practice. So like blowing it up, in my opinion, doesn't make you know, crazy. I don't understand that. And the reason why I say that is because like Seattle also has a high ceiling where they can beat some of the best teams in the world too, or play them very, very well. So it's like you have the ceiling where you can see that Seattle is competing with the best of the best sometimes. But then you also see them losing sometimes, like teams where you're just like, how the fuck did they lose that? I think if you just blow it up, that makes no sense. But like at the same time, if hypothetically you were thinking about a change, you know, who do you get? You know, I'm not gonna like again, whatever the fucking guy's name that said like, you know, coaching other teams for free. I'm not coaching other teams for free. Like I'm never gonna say like who they should get and shit. But it's just like for what you guys think, it's like who do you get that makes the team. Like, you would have to make a change that would have to guarantee to higher your floor and guarantee that your floor gets higher and your skill ceiling doesn't get lower. Because at the end of the day, you want to have a chance to win. If your ceiling is not high enough to win, you can't win, right? So it's like, if they can't win, then there's no point of playing. Obviously, that's how a lot of people feel. So you want to keep the ceiling high, but you want to higher the floor. So like, what change is going to guarantee that? Brandon, by the way, 2 years. I fucking love you. Thank you so much. So like, that's like where it's like, you know, confusing. That's the tough stuff. And also you have to remember too, like contracts, money, buyouts, trades. Like teams don't just like say like, here you go. Here's my best player on my team for a player that we don't want. You know what I mean? Like you have to think with like, you gotta think about what you're talking about. Like you can't just go pick teams, like pick players from other teams and be like, oh, I'm going to go get the best player from this team and that team to replace my 2 worst players. But my 2 worst players are going to go to those teams for free, and those managements are going to be okay with that. Like that doesn't exist. And like, I don't know. I don't think Seattle needs a change yet, in my opinion. I know that sounds crazy to some of you guys, but I'm a big believer that like the Seattle team just needs to find something more consistent for it to work for them, in my opinion. So I think they can be fine still. I don't know. Like, you got like that. Like, you got to think a little bit, in my opinion. You know, you got to think a little bit, in my opinion. That's like where I get at. Like, I don't know who they would. I'm not like, you know, even if I had my own opinion of like who I think they should do it, obviously I'm not gonna fucking say that just because like I can't, you know, do that. But I also think it's underrated in Call of Duty in general that like you can actually just work through your mistakes, and a roster change doesn't like just changing your roster doesn't fix your mistakes. You know what I mean? Like, you guys don't know how scrims go and stuff either. Like, no one really does, not even me. But like, there's so much to the roster changes that people just like completely ignore when they're talking, especially like about this kind of stuff. Like, you know, practice, executing the game plan. Like, for example, your best player, this is all hypothetical, I have no idea, but your best player that's frying and putting up all these big numbers can completely and utterly just be completely ignoring the game plan that you practice every day. So in matches, your matches look like shit because this one guy on your team, even though he's doing well, is just doing whatever the fuck he wants on the map and making the entire other team like uncomfortable and like, you know, not playing as a cohesive unit. And then you're sitting there like, well, what the fuck? But like everyone in the public will be like, well, this guy's frying. You can't drop him. You have to drop this guy. But it's like, realistically speaking, the guy that's frying actually might be completely making the biggest mistakes that you can ever see. Like, every team has a game plan. So it's just like, there's so much more to a roster change than just like saying like, fuck it, blow it up, roster change. Like, I don't know. Like, there is a world where you can actually practice and like, you know, watch VODs and try and get better every day and, you know, get through a slump. Like, that does exist. That does exist. Not saying that that's always the case. Like, there are times where roster changes are just actually better / they work better and they just do more for the team. It goes back and forth for sure. But I don't know. It just seems, you know, it just seems like people just like, you see a 2-match losing streak and you start calling for a roster change. I mean, I saw people calling for a roster. I say this all the time. People are calling for a roster change when Optic started off 0-2 this year. Like, I don't know. Ace clarified on the flank when he says blow it up, he means doesn't squad wipe the team. He just means a few changes on the roster. No, I know that. I understand. Ace is not stupid. I always say this all the time. Ace is not a dumbass. Ace is very smart. So I know he doesn't mean just wipe the roster. But even if that's the case, it's like, what's the change? You know what I mean? You can't say, in my opinion, again, I don't put my opinion out. This is obviously, there's a line that I have to draw of what I can and cannot say on this. But if you were to blow it up, or your opinion is to blow it up, don't just tell me to blow it up. What's the solution? You know what I mean? What's the solution? Like, your take can't just, like, I don't watch, unfortunately, I sleep during the flank a lot of the times. So, like, I don't get to see it. But, like, what's the solution? You can't just say blow it up. And this isn't to Aches. This is, like, to anyone that is saying blow it up, like, in the chat. You can't just say blow it up without a solution. That just doesn't make sense. You see what I mean? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. So, I don't know. That's why, like, I'm a big believer where you can actually practice and get better. And if you're going to blow it up, it better be for a clear-cut, better decision. You see what I mean? All right. And then last question I'll take before we move on to the next one. Hey, quick question, Crowder. Taking a struggling team, let's say LAG. Whose job in the org would it to be scouting challengers players for potential swap? We had a convo the other day regarding an agreed organization decision, but in my scenario, that's got to be the coach, right? man, COD's a weird thing. No one's dedicated to that, to be honest with you, Renji. Like, what I mean by that is, like, yeah, it's, you know, hypothetically speaking, it's probably the coach, right? The coach is watching challengers, players, blah, 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 blah. But, like, again, players have to be on board with that, too. And then, like, so players have to watch as well, because, say, like, hypothetically speaking, you drop one of the players. The other 3 have to be on board with, like, the person that you quote-unquote scout. So, like, it's kind of everybody. As weird as that sounds. Like, yeah, the coach, technically, in the hypothetical world, yes. But, like, the players need to also do it themselves, too, to agree. Or, like, the coach brings this guy to their attention and says, like, yo, if we do make this roster change, I hypothetically think this guy would work. And then they're like, oh, well, yeah, let's go check it out. And then they all look. Like, you know, it's kind of a whole, you know, kind of like a group decision. But I definitely think the coach in a lot of scenarios does it. But every organization is different. Like, some people or some teams have players that are really good at scouting talent, for example, right? So maybe it's the player that does that, and then the coach really, you know, listens to the player and agrees with them and, like, kind of gets on the same page. And you have a situation where, like, the coach is actually really good at looking at talent, so then the coach does it. It just depends on, like, who you have, the assets of your staff and your roster. Like, who is it going to be? So, I don't know. Other day we were talking about JK and Thieves. Can't be thinking Kenny or Nade are watching Venom and saying, yeah, get him. Mud Dog isn't going to know. That's all on cap. I rest my case. You're wrong. I actually know that for a fact. That's the thing. Like, I know for a fact you're wrong. That if you think Kenny and all those players just thought Venom was bad and Cap said, like, we're doing this, like, you're wrong. So, all right. So next we'll go to the next series, though. So we can talk more about LA Thieves and stuff and all that, in the sense of the next match. Obviously, we'll take questions after that too, so we can get more in depth with that if you want to after we're done watching their match too. Minnesota ROKKR steal a Hardpoint. ROKKR 5-12 in Hardpoint. Thieves 15-15. So listen, I predicted this match. I sit there and I said this, and I'll say it again. No way ROKKR takes a respawn off of LA Thieves. Even if they win the search, it doesn't fucking matter. LA Thieves is winning this series. That's what I said, right? You know, you're thinking ROKKR gets rid of, like, what? You think ROKKR gets rid of Gavutu? Probably, against LA Thieves. Thieves gets rid of Bocage. And you play a good old Tuscan, which goes in Thieves' favor, in my opinion. And then you play a good old Berlin, which goes in Thieves' favor, in my opinion, too. I actually think Thieves is pretty good at Berlin as well. Even though they veto it a lot, I want to say, you can go get their actual stats on it really quick. If I'm just looking at stats, you know, being an outsider looking in, LA Thieves is 3-0 in Berlin. So I'm thinking they play Tuscan, they're 6-2 on it. They play Berlin, they're 3-0 on it. And they probably get rid of Bocage, and then the other team gets rid of Gavutu. I think that's easy peasy. That's what I think. And then the controls, I think that, like, again, I think ROKKR's struggling. I think LA Thieves is able to take control. But if there was going to be a respawn that I do think LA Thieves loses, I thought it would have been in control. So, I don't know. That's what I thought. But then again, you know, everything I think is always fucking wrong, apparently. So, we're going to watch this and just see. So, yes, they're struggling, blah, 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 blah. Don't let the Thieves dominate P2 on Berlin. Thieves outscoring 40-6 on teams on average P2, okay. Need more out of your main AR in control this season. Major Maniac 0.8 in control this season. We've talked about this. I don't really like this just because, again, it is not an excuse for Major Maniac to not be playing well in the sense of a game mode with a KD. But at the same time, this Minnesota ROKKR game plan, like, I don't know what their game plan is, and I'm not critiquing their game plan, but, like, clearly it's not working, or they're not executing it, one of the two, to where they're having controls that are, like, you know, leading to them to spawn trap and actually boost their stats. They're getting spawn trapped half the time, so it's very hard to have a good KD. So that goes, you know, hand in hand with the team. But then we go to keys victories for LA Thieves. Take advantage of reeling ROKKR squad. 3-0 loss to Boston on Friday. So yeah, they're obviously struggling, blah, blah, blah. And then improves your retake teamwork. Thieves only winning 35% of neutral retake situations, which is not good. And then fix Tuscan control woes. 1-5 on Tuscan, 4-1 on Gavutu. So yes, obviously if there was one control, one respawn that I thought that Minnesota was going to be able to win, I thought it was going to be a control. So here we go. We go to the vetoes. Of course, remember, every time I ever talk about vetoes on this, it's always with a grain of salt. I always say this, and I always, like, put this disclaimer out in a sense. You don't know team scrim records. You don't know players' comfortability on maps. You don't know what's actually going on behind the scenes of matches. You know what I'm saying? So when I say that, like, for example, you know, hypothetically speaking, you know, Bocage is great for us. Like, we love Bocage. When teams pick Bocage, we love it. But like, for, you know, all of a sudden you fall into a slump, and then now you're bad at Bocage. So then it's like, then you don't play Bocage, and everyone's like, what the fuck? That's your best map. But it's like, realistically, you never really know the trends of your maps, and like, or trends of teams' maps, right? So looking at these vetoes, this was like the one where I was like, my question mark, where like I thought for sure we were gonna get a Tuscan Berlin. Yeah, that was like where I thought for sure we were gonna get a Tuscan Berlin. But at the same time, I don't really know the statistics of it. So that was my question mark of like, I know LA Thieves hasn't really been playing too much Bocage, and when they have played it, I think they lost it to us and someone else. So like, they lost it to good teams, and they're still a good Bocage Hardpoint team. Their stats are 4-2. They just haven't played it in a while. So I thought we were 100% going to see a Tuscan. You know what I mean? Thought like 100% we were going to see a Tuscan. So that was the confusion of this. But then you get a Gavutu control, which is good for LA Thieves, which is really good. And then the searches, no matter what, I always think the Minnesota ROKKR are favored in the searches, just because the searches are Minnesota ROKKR's like bread and butter. But if there was going to be one search that I thought LA Thieves was going to look pretty good at, I would have said it would be Tuscan. And the reason why I say that is like, Tuscan is like not the most creative SND. So I figured, since like it's not super creative and it's super standard, like LA Thieves is like probably going to be pretty good at it. You know what I'm saying? They're good at throwing grenades on this map. We know that firsthand. And then just in general, they would be good. ROKKR is good at every search, if I'm correct. I can go look at it. I'm just saying, like, in the sense of like just the map and the way the map plays, ROKKR's actually 2-3 on Tuscan. So they were 2-2 before yesterday. And like, this map just lacks creativity. Like, you know, there's not too much creative stuff you see on this map for the most part. Every once in a while, there's like a play where you're like, oh shit, okay, that was pretty cool. But I don't know. That was just like my, you know, my take on it. I think Tuscan can be very, very like straightforward sometimes. Like, you know, on offense, try and get the bomb down A. On defense, try and make a play to not let them get the bomb down A, kind of thing. But regardless, this is the only question mark I had in Search and Destroys. And then, yeah, I don't know. LA vetoes Berlin. That makes sense in the Search and Destroy. I think Minnesota ROKKR is like 5-1 on Berlin. So that makes sense of why they played Bocage. So, all right, moving forward through the series. Here we go. Berlin Hardpoint. In my opinion, I don't even care about this map. Like, this P2, we talked about it. Like, LA Thieves P2 is like ridiculous. They get a bunch of time on P2. You go like kind of back and forth here. I just don't think there's a world. Draza starts off hot. We'll listen to the listen in a second, but like, you can just see how this map plays out. Like, this is just the Berlin Hardpoint team. They're 2 or 3-0 on this map. I think LA Thieves is great at this map, and I think they're great at Hardpoint. Draza's having a heater. I think they're going to win this map. That's just like what I think. So we can listen to listen in here first.
I have your ticket. I'll get your warehouse. Close hill. Too close hill. Going low P2. I don't see your ticket. Low P2 all the way. He's back to low library. One ticket on me. Low library. He's going front all the way down fire hill. One's gonna be fire. Down. I'm looking on you. Close.
Yeah, we'll watch. Hold up.
Nice, good shot. I'll help you. Where was he? I got two. One more shift. He's right side time. He could be outer. Yeah, what could be dark? I'll come. Just that time. I'm nading. I'm playing dark. I have your dark. They could be deep left. I'm gonna push the mid. One shot. On hill. He went maps. Mine got maps. Yeah. We might spawn. No, I saw fire. I'm looking for him. We spawn maps then. Nice, just shit, Mike. Right back. Stay left. I'm coming. In new homeboy. Once.
No, they definitely could have. All right, so that was the communication there, and like what you're saying, like ROKKR could have won this show. Yeah, we're gonna watch the turning points and the key points of this map, obviously. But I'm more or less saying, before we listen to this, I'm more or less saying, just like in general, like before this map starts, I'm thinking LA Thieves. This is LA Thieves map. Of course, that doesn't always mean it's going to be, or it doesn't always. And also, just because it's close doesn't mean like, you know what I mean? Like if Thieves almost lose this map, it's because they almost choke it. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, Minnesota starts off slow, which has been, like, their theme so far. But, like, this is Thieves' map to win is all I was basically getting at. But here we go.
Okay, stay down. Left side hill, Mike. Outer on me. Outer, Mike. Mike is outer. Mike is outer. He's weak on the door. Mike, weak the door. He's in the window. Absolute steady. Left side, back left, sir. He's so ass. You got him. Back left, absolute, Mike. Office and holding stone. Listen, I'm down to I can nade off. I need off. You said outer. Outer. Pinch you. Outer. Weak. Dylan doing absolutely nothing. Back left. Outer me. Back left.
Mike first water, flip. Mike first water.
Three. Okay, top.
I'm back in three. I'm deep.
Alright,
Reset, bro. Reset. Let's go.
In fire, guys.
Win the game here. Let's go.
There's some fire. In fire. Low fire.
I can't say I got fire, bro. I'm pushing up.
Double tank.
I'm I think he knows you're there. He's not picking it. He's there. He's somewhere. Okay, he went down there. He went close.
Hey, I'm trying to
down.
And there we go.
All right, so there you go. That's the listings. I think both listings sounded fine. I think the communication, the teamwork and stuff was pretty good. You know, like obviously, like LA Thieves was resetting themselves there after they got that P1 scrap and stuff. I think you know, Minnesota sounded like less hectic like they usually do. So I think they were both of those comms from both teams were fine. And then we're gonna start like watching like, you know, the rest of this map. So like here is like where the like I'm pretty sure it's right here. Yeah, so like this is like the turning point where like they like, you know, they start to mount a little comeback. It's right here. So watch this. We'll watch this together. It's this route right here, dude. Number 8 getting through on this rotation is like devastating for like, you know, the LA Thieves team right here. Because now it's just like, fuck, we just had like a perfect hold to close out this game. And then number 8, which is Standy, is able to get through and now make this hill mixy. That's all they needed to do. That play right there is all they needed to do to like make this happen. And then when this hill ends, it's a 199 to 160 game. Like this was about to be the game, set, and match right there for LA Thieves. And then Standy getting through that gap in number 2, which is Draza leaving that open for like that split second that he does, kind of screws them. Where like that was just like a mistake you just can't, you know, he can't make. And then as soon as he makes that, it just makes this a little bit closer than it has to be. You guys all know my opinion about this P5. This P5 can be more of a money hill than you think. But here we go. We'll watch it from here.
First set of hardpoints, all LA Thieves. Then it was the revenge of ROKKR in the second set, but now we're finally seeing Thieves bring it back, coming alive. Nice awareness again. Top shots out of Major Maniac. Priest with 2. No, being brought down, but still hardpoint now in the hands of ROKKR. 30 seconds to play with here on the 5th. This is our second set, coming to a close. Less than 2 minutes now on the game clock as well. Here we go. One big push now from the LA Thieves. 3 of them making their way through train. Kills coming through. Clean set. Oh, baby, it's a massive kill. Kenny, that's a huge one. Time going the way of Thieves. That's brutal as well. They get that.
This looks all good. This looks all good. Number 6 getting through over here might flip them. That doesn't, which is actually really important. Number 6 could have done some damage there, and he decided not to, which is tough. And then like what you guys are saying, so it's like right there, like this break from like Minnesota is like one of the hardest breaks to perform sometimes. And there's like when they do this, like, you know, for the person that was saying like, you know, Minnesota could have won this map, it's like, yeah, but like this is if Minnesota were to win this map, this is an LA Thieves absolute troll. Like they throw this. Like this is not like a Minnesota ROKKR win. In a sense, like where like they're looking dominant this entire map. They got to pull off the impossible to do this shit. Like they get those kills in the front, they turn them away from the pinch, number 8 pinches, and they're able to actually do that. You know what I mean? Does the side matter? You definitely want to spawn on like the P3 side of P1 just because it's a little bit easier of a hold in my opinion. But at the same time, like you can kind of do it from both if you actually get into that hill and hold them off. You know what I'm saying? Like what ROKKR is doing is possible. It's just not as easy in my opinion. It just really depends on like how you like what your plan is to hold like in like on your setups and shit. It definitely doesn't matter as much as the break off because the break off you literally beat them to the hill. But if you beat them to the hill from like the P3 side, you're in the driver's seat to win that hill in my opinion. But then again, like Thieves is also probably one of the best P2 teams in the game right here. So even if they don't get that P1, you're still pretty confident if you're watching Thieves that they should be able to do their P2 shit that they usually do to win this. This is still mixy though, where like, you know, Minnesota can win this now too. The fact that they choked that P1. Minnesota can definitely do this. Especially they got the spawns that they want right here. They're getting the kills. Like it's getting mixy in the hill. Anything can kind of happen. And this is where it starts getting scary. But all you have to do is contest for like literally like 1 or 2 seconds and you have this like lobby spawn. So you can still, you know, You're still okay, but in the moment, you don't feel like that sometimes. In the moment, you start to panic. Like, basically, what they have to do is, like, contest this old hill without getting flipped at the same time. That's all they got to do. And, like, when it's, like, a really, really, like, you know, heat-of-the-moment situation like this, that's a little bit easier said than done. But, like, this contest is all they needed right there. Because now, all they have to do is spawn up and hold their lanes and win this game. You see what I mean? And then that's it. So, it's like... It gets a little scary. ROKKR almost brings this back. This was more, in my opinion, like ROKKR pulling off some impossible holds, and like, you know, I'm sure like there was some communication things where like some of these like holds that like Thieves were throwing at the end was just like the littlest things where like, you know, someone either, you know, looked at this doorway instead of that doorway in the communication, and then like, you know, they got broken, or some maybe this plain and simple they just lost gunfights and then they got broken. So that was just more LA Thieves controlled this hardpoint the entire time, as they normally do in Hardpoint. That's like an LA Thieves style Hardpoint, especially against a team that's struggling in respawn. They were controlling this game the entire time. Minnesota kicks back up, but even when Minnesota was kicking back up in there, in my opinion, it was because they were like performing breaks. They weren't controlling the game. You know, like that last P1 break was not like, oh, Minnesota looks great. Like they played textbook Call of Duty and they controlled the game. Like it was like Minnesota has to do the impossible break. Holy shit, they did it. And when if that's your game plan, it's never going to be consistent. It's like, you know, where you kind of go from there. And then here, this next Search and Destroy isn't too much to watch. I know, I'm pretty sure, if I remember, Minnesota ROKKR had a few 2v1s that they didn't execute on. I think. We're like, at this point, we're warming up for our match. So, like, I don't get to, you know, like, sometimes I don't get to always watch all of them. Like, in depth. But, it looked like there was a couple rounds that Minnesota could have definitely won. But just in general, like I said, if there's one search that like I feel like LA Thieves likes to play right now, it's Tuscan. It's a pretty straightforward search and destroy, and they're pretty good at it. So like, that's just, it is what it is. So like, they win this round of 2v1. And then they're in a 4v3 bomb down. Here we go. Yeah, ROKKR choked a lot of advantages for sure, yeah. So like, that was a 4v2 that you guys were just talking about. And like every time you see a 4v2 right now, it's just solo chows. Yeah, what you just said in the chat. It says every team does it this year. I feel like the amount of 4v2s this year compared to like the other years of Call of Duty has got to be a record. I feel like it's got to be record setting, right? But it's just solo chows over and over. They end up winning this round, but that's that, you know, that getting to that point is still solo chows. It's just like, that's how it goes. So many heat checks in this game, and with the time to kill in this game being so insane, I definitely, you know, just think it's like that. I think that's like kind of like what stems it in this game compared to others. Like the health is just so insane this year. Like you just die so quickly. So if you take that solo chow and lose it, that 4v2 could easily quickly become a 2v2. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what you see happen a lot. Now, is that the only 2 rounds Minnesota wins? Don't they get 6-2'd on this, or am I tripping? Yeah, 6-2. Again, 4v2. This is a you know, a must win. So it's a 3v2 because of that nade. You can't do anything about that. But again, that wasn't even a solo chow. That was more of a big play at Envoy. And every once in a while, you're going to lose a 3v2 situation or a 4v2 situation because someone just makes a fucking big play. Like, Envoy just makes a big play there. Like, I don't think you can really critique that as much. Like, that's just kind of tough. You know what I mean? Do you think that Thieves is good on Tuscan SND because it's very few strats for this? I mean, this map's just, like, not very creative. And I feel like creativity in Search and Destroy sometimes can be LA Thieves' downfall. Sometimes. Obviously, there's more to it. Like, there's so much more to it. But, yeah. So, maybe. I don't know. That's why I can see why people say that.
outside of A, just covering the flank for now. He's letting the boys do the work on the front line, seeing if anything's up. And this is an interesting play call chance, for so far, everyone's running around each other. Here come the set of first bloods, and it's an awkward trade across map.
Yeah, I mean, the map has been turned on its head. Now you got number 8 flanking, by the way, but yeah.
And a 3v2 goes to a 2v2.
Honestly, 2 places to go.
This was tough timing. They get wrapped, bro. Oh man, that's a rough shot though. Regardless, though, it becomes a 1v1. Kenny obviously clutches this. This is just tough for Mike to find him. You can't really do anything about this. But yeah, the rest of these rounds, like a lot of the times, like what you guys were saying, like Minnesota was definitely losing rounds that they had advantage on, and you know that's just gonna happen. I definitely think that like even around like this, like a 4v3, it's like even though you're in a 4v3 or 4v2, that becomes a 3v2. This is realistically more of a 3v2. Let's see. Number 4 caught them crossing back, so like they're not going to expect this. It's just like in a situation like that, they try to wrap up with their one guy that's solo, where like realistically the one guy that's solo can technically wrap to them. Like that was just unfortunate that number 4 was able to see them cross back and he gets that timing where like he obviously is able to like, you know, chase them down and get those kills. So that being said, like it becomes like it goes from a 4v2 an instant trade to 3v2, and then that 3v2 just gets shut down by like, you know, them getting re-wrapped. It's just like every once in a while there's going to be unfortunate stuff, and then that's just going to be, it is what it is. But it just kind of sucks that like, you know, Minnesota just had some few rounds that they like definitely let like, you know, slip through their fingers, and then LA Thieves clutches up. LA Thieves won a couple one-on-ones. They needed to do what they did, and they win this map. That's just, it is what it is. Thieves seem to have 0 ice in game 5s this year. I mean, it kind of goes for anything. Game 5s are definitely a little bit different than just a regular search and destroy. But like when search and destroy is your worst game mode, game 5 is not going to be your friend. So that's just it. That's just kind of how that kind of goes. And here we go. Minnesota's 1-2. Thieves are 4-1. So Gavutu control for Thieves, looking real good. And you skip forward. No one likes watching Gavutu control. And this is obviously completely changing. But Minnesota on defense, doing pretty well in the kills. They get a lot of kills. They're up in kills. Then you skip forward. Then LA Thieves on their defense does really good. But now since Minnesota does really well in kills, they're just going to camp their base. Blah, blah, blah. Gavutu's boring. And then here we go. LA Thieves on their offense. Minnesota on their defense. Kind of goes the same way. Minnesota stops them. They're up in kills. Now, no matter what, Minnesota's getting last round defense. They're absolutely smoking them. Now, LA Thieves has to play this really, really, like, you know, aggressive to win this in general. And then here we go. Last round defense goes to Minnesota. You're doing, like, all your stuff. And, like, kind of what we were saying, like, this last round, they go for A. They cap A right away. They're trying to do damage at B. And it just comes down to the fact that this was textbook Gavutu. No one got crafty on their offense and, like, was able to do any damage when they needed to. They weren't, you know, they weren't able to spawn trap. They weren't able to get the slaying going. This map is so simple, where this is textbook Gavutu, where Minnesota ROKKR gets their last round defense and wins. I think it's just kind of, you know, stupid. It is what it is, but I think this is changing very soon, so I'm very excited. So we're not really going to talk about that map. Textbook Gavutu. So this is where like, you know, the question mark was. So it's like Minnesota ROKKR is 0-3 on Bocage Hardpoint, and they're 0-5 on Tuscan Hardpoint. So like this is where I really thought LA Thieves were going to play Tuscan just because of how good they are at Tuscan. I know they got bodied by Optic on Tuscan, but you know, one loss to an Optic team right now, I wouldn't have think changes. So I'm sure there was a thought process, obviously, on why this map was played over Tuscan. So like, you know, I always say, like, every time I talk about the vetoes, you take it with a grain of salt, because like looking from the outside in and having hindsight, it's very, very easy to say like what map you think they should have picked after you know the result of the map. So like it's like super hard to be like, you know, crazy critical about this. But I was definitely surprised to see this be played, even though they're 0-3 at it. It just looks like, you know, Standy, Priesta, and like even like Major, and like this team like might like, I don't know. Bocage can just get mixy sometimes, you know? And I just think Tuscan for LA Thieves just looks so, like, you know, in sync. So I thought we were going to see Tuscan, like I said before in the vetoes. So this map, you know, getting fired up, I remember watching this like, oh, this might be a close map, bro. This might just do the Bocage blender where it goes, like, last second, like, you know, 10-point game kind of thing. Like, I don't know. And then attached it on the flank that they picked Bocage because Minnesota was smoking LA Thieves and Tuscan on hardpoint scrims. That's what I'm saying. So that makes more sense. Like, if that is the case, then that kind of makes sense. Like, where if you don't have the scrim sheet, like, it's more or less like, okay, like, if, you know, we haven't beat this team in Tuscan Hardpoint in 4 or 5 attempts, maybe, like, you know, like, we're not going to play Tuscan. That's kind of like why I say, like, always take it with a grain of salt. Because I just think, like, LA Thieves Tuscan usually looks so good. So that makes more sense. That, you know, I don't know. That like kind of comes to why Bocage is being played. If you know you're playing bad on Tuscan for an entire week, you don't want to just pick Tuscan if you think you're like, yeah, we can't get the win on this map. We don't know what we're doing. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. So obviously hindsight, it looks like they could have played Tuscan, but here, like, they still could have won this Bocage. This was a close Bocage. That was the only confusion that I had. So that makes more sense. That answers my questions, which I figured. I figured there was a thought process of why. You know, that makes sense. All right, watch the Bocage. What a mixed Bocage is. Oh, yeah. So skip forward. I'm pretty sure this map goes like toe-to-toe for a little bit. We'll like watch the turning point of this map. LA Thieves has that, and then they come back, and then this is a close game. This is a close game. If this is not the typical Bocage fucking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you know what I mean? Here we go. Also, yeah, Preston running the full-time sub on this map, and, like, you know, Attach running obviously more of a flex, and, like, maybe pulling out the second AR here and there. I definitely think that would make their Bocage a little bit better too. So that's why also with this role change, I thought that this Minnesota ROKKR team might be a little bit better at Bocage than they're obviously, you know, their statistics tell. So that's why I thought this Bocage map might be good for Minnesota. And then here. This entire map is just like here. So we're going to watch it from like right here. Before this though. Like, let's go before, like, what the start of this hill. Right here. Okay. So Minnesota has these spawns, and like they're in a good spot to like run the scoreboard up. LA Thieves ends up flipping them. I'm curious to see how. So they leave tunnel open, and then okay, and then he kills Standy. I actually remember watching that live now. So that tunnel gunfight was huge. Like Draza getting this 2-piece is like giving LA Thieves a really big opportunity to not get like, you know, not get like stomped out here. So Draza's kill right there is like, those kills are super underrated in the sense like those, like this little like 3-piece spree he just had, low key, or 4-piece. Oh, Jesus, I didn't see the 4-piece live. Kind of like gives them, you know, a sign of life, because even though Minnesota's able to answer back and stuff, that was able to slow this push down, and just in general, you know, stop like Minnesota really running up the scoreboard. Like that could have got a lot worse for Thieves, a lot faster if that doesn't happen. And then P1, if you're LA Thieves, you're actually kind of in a good spot for P1 in the sense where, like, you know, you have them spawning back here, and on P1, personally, I think like trapping them back here is a little bit easier. So if you're LA Thieves, like you did a decent job there of like kind of managing the damage. You can get some time here. Like, I don't know. I actually don't mind like where they're at, but they just kind of lose gunfights on this rotation. But then they answer them back. So let's see. Let's see what happens here. So this right here. That's what I'm looking at right here. Yeah, so did he get through? Did he spawn there? He spawns there. Yeah, so he spawns there. So, like, man, this is weird. Like, he spawns, like, number 2, which is Draza being this far pushed up on P1, is probably the reason why he spawns there. Number 2 is, like, so far pushed up. Let's see. Like, look. Number 2 is all the way back here, like, aiming, like, back here. Like, being this far pushed up and aiming out the top back window, like, he's up top right now. Aiming at the top back window has got to be the reason why they spawn all the way over here. Even though, like, again, you would just think that, like, you know, the Minnesota number 7 spawns with him here. But it's just the squad spawns. Like, they end up being so far pushed up. And then, like, this entire side of the map is open. It's just, like, again, that's a hard read. That is a hard read of, like, getting flipped. That's, like, you know, Vanguard. So it's, like, he makes this play. Zuma mentioned it because he thought he made a play. And then Attach was so lost when he first said, yeah, no. He, like, him making this play potentially might get them flipped. I don't know, though. Like, it's just so weird, bro. Because, like, sometimes he doesn't get flipped here. But I guess since he's peeking out the back window, I'm not too sure. But, yeah, Vanguard comes into play here, and this happens. And this probably just ruins a lot of, like, LA Thieves' fucking time. Because then, like, LA Thieves then spawns here. And then, like, they probably don't think they got flipped, right? But the thing I will say about this, though, is, like, he does spawn here, and then he runs forward at the hill, and, like, this entire side of the map is open. So, realistically speaking, like, Minnesota can be running through this way. So, like this flip, like, you know, like, is just kind of tough. Because then no one on LA Thieves plays for the deep spawn here. Like, you see how they're playing for, like, see, like, this route? In my opinion, like, that route needed to get taken faster. And then it's just tough. And, like, obviously, LA Thieves being a really good hardpoint team, they know that. But they just, the route wasn't, they didn't protect their spawns, even though that was kind of bullshit that happened anyway. It's like, since they didn't protect their spawns, or they didn't try to, like, they don't confirm that, like, they have those P2 spawns. And now, like, this becomes, like, this is where you're, like, fucked if you're Thieves. You know, you're spawning all the way out here. You don't have P2 spawns, and then you're fucked here. So Vanguard definitely comes into, you know, comes into play there a little bit. And then also the mistake of not confirming which side that you have also comes into play. And then it kind of just fucks them over, and then they lose. So, like, that was tough. I'm just excited in the sense of, I mean, I'm excited to see, like, you know, Minnesota wins this. And, like, I'm happy that you guys told me, like, you know, why Attach said, like, they probably picked those maps and shit. And, like, you know, they were smoking them on Tuscan. I don't know. They must have been really smoking them on Tuscan for them not to play that in the hard points. And that makes sense. And regardless, LA Thieves is still a good Bocage team. So, like, you're playing an 0-3 team on Bocage, you should still win it. So, my questions have been answered about the veto process. That makes more sense. And then going into this game 5, in my opinion, I thought Thieves had 0 chance of winning this. They were up 2-0, they're down 0-2, and historically speaking, they're not that good of an S&D team. I don't know. In my opinion, I think this is over. I don't know if you guys agree with me. I mean, they are 2-0 on Bocage SND, so, like, they definitely don't look bad at Bocage SND, but it's just the fact of being up 2-0 and going down 0-2, and then being a team that can be shaky every once in a while on Bocage SND versus a team like Minnesota, whose SND is, like, their bread and butter. Like, I just feel like, I feel like, you know, if Minnesota goes in this, like, yo, we got S&D. This is the fucking game mode. This is our game mode. We're going to fucking win this. You know what I mean? Like, they're fucking super hyped. LA Thieves is obviously like, fuck, we just, like, dropped 2 maps and, like, you know, we got to fucking now win a search. Even if they're not saying that out loud, obviously. It's just, like, kind of like the vibe. I don't know. So, on the flank, ROKKR, they said ROKKR's 4-1 in game 5s this year. It's just because they're a good S&D team. So, again, that game 5 is going to be... that game 5 is going to be like your home. You know, if you're most confident in your search and destroy, you want to get the game 5. You know, like, Minnesota wants to get the game 5. They want to be there. And, like, the highlight of this search is that 4v2. I'm gonna watch it really quick. Where is it? Is it? Where is it? Which round's the 4v2? It's this round, right? Isn't it this round? Major and Attach? It's this round, right? Yeah. Okay. So this is the highlight round where, like, if you're Thieves, I think it's this round. If you're Thieves, you need to win this round. So we're going to watch this round in depth, because after this, I think this is just chalked. How much does confidence and scrims go hand in hand, like, overall league match records? What do you mean by that? What do you mean exactly? But we'll watch this real quick. So 4v2. Bomb in hand. You know one's top. You have all the information. They wrap to B. I don't mind this. But like that was a decisive move. But like I definitely mind that. Like after, you know, you're in a 4v2. You're playing the bomb. You know they're in their base. You know what I mean? You know you're expecting them to be in their base or be over here by field trying to flank. One of the two. Like the 4v2, we're taking, again, solo chows. Solo chow. Solo chow. Boom. Now it's a 2v2. Like, it's just weird because you would think, again, hindsight's always 2020. But in a 4v2, if you just like stack the A room and plant the bomb, there's no way two of these guys are going to like run in and just piece you up, you know? If you just trade one kill, you're going to end up being in a 2v1. You know what I mean? So it's like, yes, the decisive decision to go B is good, but then they don't make a decisive decision to like actually like play with teammates and stuff. And just like any 4v2 that happens in this game, you just, if you're not with your teammates and stuff, you're going to lose. So they make some horrible mistakes here. They take these solo chows. And now like once it's a 2v2 and they're in this house, this is anyone's game. Like, look, this is anyone's game. He takes that chow, like hopping out of the window like a lunatic. And now it's a 2v1. They know now, like, you know, where he's at. Octane kind of taking this chow was probably, you know, not the best play. He is in a 2v1, so he's in a situation where he's screwed. Him trying to run away and stall time because the bomb's down is probably better. But you can't knock that just because he just got left in a 2v1 after it was a 4v2. So he probably lost full too. So like, I don't know. That was just overall a really sloppy round. And then once that 4-1 goes into this favor, like, I don't care what happens. This is over. Like, you know, ROKKR goes up 5-1. You're not bringing it back on Bocage and they lose. So like, that just looked like there was not a full plan for Thieves. And they just kind of throw it there. So I'll take questions about this, obviously, this series and stuff, and we'll talk about it, and then we'll see from there. Is Thieves like one of the best Tuscan Hardpoint teams by record, but getting smoked in scrims made them not want to play it, which is understandable. But like Ake said, scrims and the actual match can be two different things. Absolutely. But at the same time, like, you know, that's a thing. I mean, my team was probably the best Apocalypse Hardpoint team of all fucking time last year, scrims-wise. But like, we played it for the first 4 matches and got absolutely dominated. So, like, you know, we were looking good in scrims, but then we sucked at matches. It can definitely be the other way around, where you're losing it in matches and you can obviously still, like, there's definitely like, you know, more of a weight to it. But it depends on how bad you're getting smoked in scrims. Like, for example, Von T, if like you're losing Tuscan, say you're like 0-3 in Tuscan, but like all those Tuscans were like 250 to like 220. I'm not losing confidence in that map. It's just like little things, you know, and then you learn to get better from it. But like, if it's, you know, 250 to like 90 and it's just like embarrassing, or you're just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on anymore. So it just really depends on like the numbers really speak to that. You know, it's kind of hard to, there's no like right or wrong answer there, in my opinion. Okay, next thing, I already knew this was coming. Should Cap be looking at roster moves? In my opinion, no. I know I always say this, no team's playing to like, you know, sit 6th place or 5th, like a 5th, 4th place. Like no team plays for that. But like, I also think the world of Call of Duty is weird. LA Thieves is not in a bad position in standings. I don't think a couple of losses and a little rut means you blow it up and you make roster changes, because you have to remember, like, you can't just say, like, I know you're not saying make a roster move, by the way. I know you were questioning. But like, you can't just say make a roster move in this league without having a solution that makes sense. Like, you have to remember that like there is a world where you can just get better as a team and figure out your mistakes. Like that is a thing. Like, I don't know. There were like, even like, you know, going back to when I was on 100 Thieves as their coach, we were bad at some maps in Hardpoint and Control and Search and Destroy, and then we got better at those maps and won majors. You know what I mean? Like, that is a thing. We weren't the best SND team to start off the time when I was coaching with them. Then we put a lot of work into it, and we did get better. Like, you can go through ruts together as a team to get better. Does that make sense? Like that, you don't, like, I feel like this league is weird. And I know it's such a weird take too, because I understand the other side of the argument, and I know you don't want to like play for 5th place or whatever. But like, you also have to remember, like, your solution of a roster change has to make sense. You can't just make a roster change to make a roster change and say fuck it. Like, there's a world where like you have a coaching staff and you have a team that's dedicated to getting better every day, where like you can fix your mistakes and get better at the game. There's also a world where in any competitive sport, esport, or anything that you do, like people go through slumps. Like people go through slumps. Like, you know, like for example, I don't know if Octane's underperforming. Someone's saying this in my chat. I'm not sure if he actually is. I would have to go look. I'd have to go back and look. But like, if he's underperforming, that does not mean like that means like dude, you know Octane, you know what he's capable of. It's like that means like, you know, let's sit down and figure it out. You know, like I worked with Priesta. I did like, what's it called? What's going on, Sean? I've worked with Priesta before where he was underperforming in the sense like, but then like we sat down and figured it out, and like he started playing like the superstar he really is. You know, like there is going to be plenty of times where like you go through slumps. Even in my own career, I mean, I have had the worst slumps of the worst. I fucking suck. But then after a while of analyzing my gameplay, I've gotten way fucking better. Like, you know, like I don't know. Like I think it's like if you're gonna blow it up or make a change, the change has to make sense. And that's why, and I feel like people underrate in this league that you can still get better. We're in Major 2. Like, you know, getting closer to the champs time and getting closer to like, you know, maybe you need a better roster for champs and you don't see any faith in this roster. Then you start thinking of changes. Or if you're all the way at the bottom and you need to make champs because only the top 8 go to champs, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you don't want to just be at the bottom forever and just be like, fuck it, we're going to keep getting there and get through there, you know, and make champs that way. Like, you know, there are some like panic buttons where it's like, yo, we need to make champs. We suck. We need to change. But if you're sitting like 6th, 5th, 4th, like 4th, or like, you're not like at blow it up territory unless like there's an offer on the table that you can't deny. You know what I mean? So it just depends on where you're at. And like, in my opinion, I don't think LA Thieves needs to make some fucking crazy change. Like that people are saying it. Really quick, Sean, I see you. Do you see any big trades coming into play this year, or will it be more likely a drop in a challengers player coming up? So maybe trades. To be honest, if ROKKR continues to struggle, I could see trades with those players because of how good all the players are. Like, the ROKKR struggling is weird because all 4 players on ROKKR are really, really good, and they have really, really high ceilings, and they're really good people. Like, it's weird. Like, the ROKKR team has really good people, really, you know, head on their shoulders, good people in general, good teammates, hard workers, talented players. So, like, those would be the players I see get that like maybe a big trade happens if they continue to struggle and they make a change. If they don't make a change, then obviously not. But it's just weird because trades are odd with contracts and salaries and a bunch of other stuff. It's kind of hard. It's like trades don't happen. I definitely think there's a possibility for it though this year with trades and stuff. But I think, you know, Clay being right now looking for a team is also a possibility. But a lot of the reason why, like, you know, people get picked up in challengers too is just a money thing, in my opinion. Like, you can pick up a challengers player who's gonna have the fire, the hunger, the passion, and he has like the ceiling that you might be able to like coach him to the fucking top for the minimum salary, or you could pick up someone who's currently having issues and he's gonna cost you a shit ton of money. And that's why you see a lot of those challenger players pickups too, is because of like, it's not a big downside if the challengers player doesn't work out sometimes as well. And also sometimes, like, usually, like, if you're picking up a talented challenger player, they're going to change, like, the vibe of your team. So, like, I definitely think if Minnesota struggles still, I think you can see some trades with them. Because I think, you know, hypothetically speaking, if you trade any 4 of the Minnesota players, if they were to struggle, this is all hypothetical world, those players can go to any team and change the vibe of a team and make them better. You know what I mean? So, it's like, that is a thing. For sure. Like, but I don't know if we'll see that because they might start, you know, finding a rhythm and getting better, and then all of a sudden there's no trade for them because they don't make a change. So I don't really know. It'll be interesting to see. But I definitely think challengers players coming up is more of a money thing too. I feel like that makes more sense in that world. But I don't really know. It's kind of, you gotta kind of have to wait. Should Cap add a pair of eyes, maybe a second coach or S&D overall coaching? Surely a roster team would be currently dumb, but now it looks like they're losing because of slaying. I mean, you're acting like Cap is the guy that controls the money over there. Like, Cap doesn't, you know, Cap's been, I don't know, like, Cap don't just say like, yo, add another coach, and they do that, you know. Cap's kind of just there, and like, I mean, I'm sure Cap has voiced his opinion of whatever he thinks is right. Maybe he doesn't want an extra pair of eyes, maybe he does, like, you know, like, I'm sure like he's voiced his opinion on that. I'm assuming that there's no coach in this world that wants to coach a team by themselves, but like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Cap controls that, is what I'm saying. You know, I don't think Cap really controls that. What happens to competitive COD when Scump retires? I don't think Scump's retiring for a while, and I have no idea. I'm not trying to predict the future. Okay. Why not? Can you sub in and out of players for different maps and different rain modes? You can do that. That's fair. You're allowed to do that. Florida, in my opinion, is too AR heavy. They can definitely be looking for a trade too. If they continue to struggle, maybe, but I think that Florida team has a lot of belief in them, and I actually think they're still really good. Again, if your issue, I've said this before, if your issue is like game planning or structure or like system stuff, it's usually more fixable if you're getting the kills. Like if you're slaying people like you have the kills, that means you can make anything work. That Florida team is a good team, and I think that they're not really struggling. They're like, like they played Optic pretty well. Yeah, they lost to them, but they've looked good before that Optic match. Like I think that Florida team's a really good team, so I don't think they're really looking at anything too crazy yet. Nade would give him whatever he wants. I mean, that's not like, I can't tell you, like, you're just making an assumption without actually knowing anything. And then if I were to make an assumption either, I would do that too. It's like, I don't know. I feel like most teams have like a full coaching staff. So like, I'm sure that eventually that team will hire another coach, but like, I'm sure Cap has not just like shut down that too. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think there's any coach that would really want to coach on their own in this league because it's just like underratedly stressful. So I'm assuming that, but like, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know their ins and outs of their shit that they do over there, like in their camp, to be honest with you. I think LA Thieves is super solid, just to have to close out some maps. That's what I mean. Like, bro, slumps exist. Like, everyone's fucking freaking out that LA Thieves is losing. It's like, you're allowed to fucking lose. The only reason I would lose my mind if I was a part of a team that was like struggling is if my players are just not working hard in scrims and getting bad practice. That's when I would lose my mind. If you're struggling and you're not, and you're complaining, oh, Vanguard sucks, oh, that's when I would lose my fucking mind. How many people are on the coaching staff of FaZe? I have an analyst, an S&D coach, an assistant coach, and then myself, so 4. And my analyst is more than an analyst. He coaches too. My analyst like does a lot of management, like a little bit of management work for the players, like in the sense of like, keeping them organized. And he also has really, really good input that like I take into account when he speaks. Like I respect my analyst's opinion a lot, and I also respect the other two a lot too. Easy Mac, yeah. So we have 4 coaches on my staff. And to be honest with you, like, I wouldn't want it any other way, in my opinion. I think the more eyes, the more opinions, the better it is. Like, I don't know. We're gonna do the next match, which is Atlanta FaZe match. Keys to victory. Gavutu Money Hill domination, outscoring opponents on 34-17 on P4, 28-17 of his dive. Improve your B side attacks on Berlin S&D, and then press your advantage in hardpoint. Atlanta first in hold percentage, first in break percentages. Keys to victory. 6 hardpoint woes, 2 and 10 in the last 12 hardpoints. Need momentum from map 3. Atlanta is 4th in control round percentage. Okay. And defensive S&D struggles, last in defensive win rate. So, all right. Vetoes. These are our vetoes. They got rid of Bocage. We got rid of Berlin. That's not a surprise. I feel like everyone kind of, knew that was kind of coming. We got rid of Tuscan. They got rid of Siege. Again, I feel like that was kind of obvious. And then I lost another coin flip. I don't know. Sorry, guys. I'm the worst coin flipper of all fucking time. And we play Gavutu control again. But I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm happy that I keep losing the coin flip. I will take Gavutu control every fucking time if I lose a coin flip until we can learn how to fucking win the map. To be very honest with you. Like, people keep like freaking out and laughing about it. But like, I personally would rather this every time. Again, like, we should still be able to win series even if we lose a control. It's not the consistent way to win, and it's not the best way to win. You guys know my opinion on that. But like, at the same time, like, we have to eventually get fucking better at this map. So I don't give a fuck that we keep losing this map, because eventually we're going to fucking win it. And eventually all these reps on it are going to learn, like, those little mistakes that we keep making, we're going to start winning. So it's just like, I don't care that this happens. And also, if you guys know my mindset of just a coach or a player or just in general as in a competitive environment, if you are so affected by the coin flip that you're so bad at one map, quote unquote, we're actually not bad at this map in practice, but whatever. But like, you're so bad at this map, quote unquote, and you're so good at the other one, that is not an excuse or a complaint. That just, and like, you can't even complain like, oh, we should have more maps so we could veto this map. It's like, or you should just not fucking lose the map. And that doesn't go for my team, by the way. That goes for any team. Like, if you're complaining or you're thinking it's annoying that the coin flip controls this, that just means that like that you're not looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, well, maybe I should just stop fucking losing this map. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, it is what it is. So, with that being said, Gavutu fucking Hardpoint right here. We're going to start it off. I'm going to go get my food really quick just to make sure that it's not just sitting outside. And then we'll go from there. So, give me like literally 1 second and then we'll break it down. But yeah, having a weakness like that, in my opinion, every time we lose the coin flip, it's a blessing because, again, these are major qualifiers. If we want to win Major 2, we have to be able to win Gavutu Control in the finals if we get there, right? You see what I mean? So, like, either way, it doesn't fucking matter. So it's like, that's just, you have to fucking do that. And if that's like your excuse, which we're not making that excuse, by the way, my players never do that. But if if that was the excuse for our team, that's a fucking issue. And that's not an issue in the sense of like not having enough maps. That's an issue of being fucking just a weak team. So I love the reps we're getting on it coming from the coaching standard.
Cross your fingers, cross your toes, cross everything because they've not been good at hardpoint so far. And Atlanta FaZe is a scary team.
So the break on this map, we don't blow up to the barrels, which is dope.
Yeah, really scary teams. A really good opening. Salian with the double grenade to kick things off. I think it would have just been his grenade in there. Second, very well coordinated by Atlanta FaZe. But as things go, still for Ultra, trying to combat themselves in here, trying to get a hold of a little bit of control. But it is going to be about this rotation over towards P2 as Simp finds 3 on his own. This is really not the start.
Simp finds 4.
Kill feed is all Simp killing people on Ultra. Fantastic work by him. And looking over towards this rotation, it is Ultra mostly in control. You do need to get rid of Arsenis though.
You said to do that.
So
By Cammy.
there's not much to watch on this map, to be very honest with you. We play Gavutu. We play a stellar Gavutu. We can do the listening. We'll do listenings, and there's really not much to watch. Like, overall, we were just winning a lot of the rotations that we were, and even when we weren't winning the rotations, we were breaking pretty well. You know what I mean? Sim plays really well. The team plays really well. Just in general, this is like a really well played map out of like our team.
Get him mid box.
I'll nade it.
No, he's pushed out.
Yeah, he's below you, Cam. He's pushed out our indent.
No. Yeah, okay.
Beezy's pushed out, absolute.
He's gone upstairs.
He's out top.
Yeah, got shot from the top room.
Alright, we need to go near.
Beezy got me. I'm in here.
That's one B.
He's top green.
Back him round.
I spawned here, Toby. Yeah, I can play low. I can play low.
Yeah, already. Simps shoot me from top.
Let's go take her out. Take her out.
Give me double a pinch.
Yeah.
You're low, Cam.
I need to hide this. I need to hide from top 3.
Yeah, I can play close here with a sub.
Alright, you got low, Cam, yeah?
Yeah, I'm shouldering low.
They're deep, Cam. I see him far deep.
What, deep left?
Yeah.
I saw him close. Got one close mid cut. They could come close on you, bro.
God, Heady, Salium.
What was your shot?
I'm saving bench right now.
Hey, well, BC, bro. Outer BC just came close
Pushed
to me.
up. I'm absolute. I'm absolute. He's gonna be low.
See low, they could be
One that's one dead.
Nice, BC still.
Close dead. Nice.
One
I'm
absolute.
pushing down S2. Push down S2, by the way.
Salium.
I'm trying to
Push that.
Nice,
Yeah,
good.
go.
Nice, I'm watching red tower.
We're kind of pushed up here. Quite far
Look at
pushed
deep
up.
left.
Still here. Dub cut,
I
two of
think
them.
we should be good.
Dub cut, two of them. The nade
Left.
to nade you. I've got the whole mid. So Sal's mid cut, dead.
Nice, one more on me, Jamie. I think it's crossed on me. BC's
I'll
on
have you.
the next. Last guy. It's Simp.
I got the whole right. Yeah, mid. I can nade it, Jimmy.
One's over me, like P3.
Detonated. Dead. To nade.
One spread tower.
Good.
Could be S2.
One by our rocks, but.
Yeah, no, they
Alex,
can
out,
nice
rim,
two, nice
outside.
two.
An A over you, Toby. Careful.
Top
Triple
outside.
playing it. One already close. That's
Dab's in the ramp, he might die, he's dead. The one out of rim and one
P5 on me. Look
Nice,
for
that's our
Sal.
rim, that's our rim.
Down. Yeah, look for Sal.
No, he's old. He's old.
Okay.
Look for Simp. Simp's off spawn. One's old. Nice.
Nice, still Simp.
Simp.
I'm playing
Right.
top P5. Come on, bro.
Did you?
Hang in the window. All good.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got time here. I'll stop.
Wow, looks like Toronto Ultra managed to find a little bit of ground in this game moving forward.
So they sound good. The listening sounds good. They always sound good. It's Toronto. They have probably the best comms like ever. So overall, though, just in general, like, we end up getting the scrap time. Luckily, like, Cell wins that gunfight or whatever. And then, like, on their rotation, we just perform a break. Like, this was just, like, in the sense where when we were breaking when we needed to, we were holding when we needed to. And this map was just going in general in our favor. Obviously, we like Gavutu. It's, like, one of our favorite maps, in the sense of, like, just, like stats-wise. But, this was also just, like, in a sense, it's like it was going to be Bocage or Gavutu. It was kind of like, one of those maps, like those two maps were favored for us in the sense of that, statistically wise, and we played this map well. So, like, there's not, like, too much to break down. I was super happy with it. Ultra played this map versus Boston yesterday too, and they also struggled. But just in general, like even when they're struggling, their comms are still so good and stuff. So, like, you know, it's obviously typical from that, and then we just play this map well. That doesn't mean this series is far from over, but this next map is where I started to kind of get like annoying. You know, obviously I'm super overcritical of my own team in the sense of like, obviously I'm their coach and I try and hold them to a standard of like super high. So this map right here, you know, we start off, we go down 0-1. Where's the round where we get the, is it this round? No, it's not this round. The round that I would like, you know, we start playing well. So like we end up, I'm pretty sure, you know, going down 0-2 and then here. The door opening from Bance was so smart. Actually, yeah, that was really smart. Was that round 1? Back up. I actually want to highlight that. We can tip Toronto right there. Was that round 1? Yeah, it's right here. Right? Look at this, chat. He opens the door, runs away, baits him, and then gets this peek, and then Insight's right there to peek it. That was a good round. That was literally like perfect. Like that was really well played. So we end up winning this round, and then we start to like bounce back like slowly here. So this first blood here. Get that kill. We're bouncing back. 3v1. It's 2-2. All right, we're fighting. And this is where I felt like we started getting like first bloods and like winning, like, you know, controlling the game and then like losing it. And this is what I was saying. It's like we were like controlling the game in these next 2 maps and we were still losing them. And that's like where the frustration obviously sets in as like just being a coach. But at the same time, like I've been super happy with the way our team's culture has been in practice. So like I would never be like upset in that aspect. It just sucks like, you know, little things not going your way and not executing is the whole point of playing these matches, to keep getting better and better and better. And obviously practicing in these situations. We did it last year in Cold War and the same thing in MW. Like these matches will, like all these little mistakes will only help you in the long run. But like it's definitely just like in the sense it's super annoying that, you know, that like control the pace of a game and still lose it. So like we were like one step away from like a little things going our like just like not going in our favor, but still. I've been super happy with the boys how they've been practicing. So again, 4v3, Bocage SND, you're in the driver's seat. If you trade your kills inside the house and Noah gets a 2-piece, you should be able to win. So like this is like literally perfect. We're in a good place. We're in a 4v3. We got this guy weak. It's a 4v2. It's a 4v1. We're good. Controlling the pace of the game. And constantly controlling the pace of the game was good. Inside almost 1v4 that, but that was just like time not on his side. So like he had a chance, but he like also never really had one. Although I didn't like the fact that they stayed together at the end of the round. Regardless, we win that round. That was kind of scary. Then look, we get a first blood again. Controlling the pace of the game. You know, as soon as we're controlling the pace of the game here, like, we just like leave all of this open and like allow Alec to get shot. Allow Alec to get shot in the back. Like, watch. Like right here. Like we leave all these doors open. We leave this lane open in a 4v3 and like we control the pace of the game, but then we all go like on this like little separate solo mission and then boom. Like those mistakes against a good team can't happen. And it's just like, that's like the little things that we were doing where like we're playing the game so well just to like, you know, make that little hiccup not go in our favor and then even out the round. And now once this is a 3-on-3, anyone can win this round again. It becomes a 50-50 again. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can't like blow those chances. And we were doing a lot of that in like, just like in these scenarios, like where like, you know, we were doing such a good job of like controlling the game, getting a good plan. Again, another 4v3. And then boom, they get timing through the middle. Like Vance like gets timing through the hut. We leave a gap open. We get shot in the back and shot like, and then we lose that fight. It's just like shit like that where like we're controlling the game for no reason, and then it's just over and over and over again. We end up losing this because of that. and then like we end up losing 6-3. Like that shit's gonna happen, and that's why like you know, being the silver lining, it's like it's actually really good that stuff like that happens to learn from it and keep using these matches as like really good practice to keep getting better. And especially when you can learn from winning, it's much more fun learning from winning than learning from losing. So like there's a lot to learn from like these matches that we're playing. This obviously got closer than it had to. Like, you know, if we fix a few of those small mistakes, we can easily win that Bocage. So like it sucks that we lose it, but at the same time, I wasn't really super mad about it. We'll talk about a lot of this Gavutu control, just like the way we trolled and stuff, and then obviously go from there. Well, Tom, FaZe trolled. It's like, yeah, we trolled, but at the end of the day, like, you can't, like, you know, take that away from Toronto. Like, even if a team's controlling the pace of the game on you and you're able to, like, obviously, like, you know, stay composed and win it, that shows you, like, that you're also a very good team, too, you know? So it's like, I'm talking to, like, just, like, from me critiquing my own team. When we're getting into the driver's seat of controlling these games, we have to have a better plan after to, like, you know, to close them out, right? Like, I'm being critical of my team, but like you can't just say like, oh, this team trolled, these guys got lucky. Like Toronto did not get lucky. Like their game plan when they were down in those 3v4s was still a really good play. Like, you know, like they're still a really good team, and like the fact that they have their composure and doing what they're doing is also very important. So like there's this, you know, you can't just say a team trolled. I'm just being overcritical of my team. So we can skip forward through this though. This was boring. But here we go. This was like the offense that I thought we were gonna win. Game management, basically. Yeah. Just having a better plan to stomp some, like, you know, like to stomp them out when you're doing this. Yeah, this control is a super troll fest. But again, the silver lining here is this map with these hiccups. If you could have said, like, you know, the fact that we say we, you know, should have won is just like a step forward for us. I know it sounds like, you know, it's annoying to say that, and we're looking good at this map in scrims and shit. It's just like the fact that we're getting like closer and closer, and like it's just the small mistakes that I'm not going to dive too deep into because, you know, our game plan is our game plan, and obviously I can't just go start talking about it like crazy. But like, just if we could just stick to like what we do, like just a little bit more, I think we'd be like actually very good. So like I was like super frustrated and super annoyed that we lose this map in the fashion that we do. But then like after I, you know, like I calmed down, it's like also a good thing too that like, you know, we're like, again, figuring it out. Like it just is what it is. That's why every time we lose the coin toss, like I was saying, it's like I don't care that we play Gavutu. Like keep playing it until you fucking win it, kind of thing. Especially in a game where you can't even control if you can't play it. It's not like we can just veto this for the rest of the season, you know? Having an auto veto means you suck, in my opinion. So yeah. So this offense, I'll show you the key moment of this offense is like right here. So like this offense right here is just tough because like we have like every lane locked down, and then Tyler's going back and forth. You know what I mean? If he wins this gunfight, it's obviously huge for us. But it's just a weird setup because like we're obviously holding ring and we're like, you know, going back and forth. And then as soon as he goes back and forth, he gets this timing on him and he gets this kill. If he gets this kill, we probably win this offense. No bullshit. But we obviously don't get the kill, and then our setup kind of gets exposed from that pinch. And then it just becomes like, you know, kind of like just fucked. If we got that second tick, that would have made this much more doable. But we end up not getting that done. And then we still, you know, try and do our best of like, you know, capping A and doing all of the stuff that we can do. And then like this next push is pretty crucial. You know, like we're trying to obviously just get control of the map again, and they're obviously all set up. So let's see. So we get a 2-piece ring. Stallion makes it 3. Now we're on the B point. We get killed off the B point. We can do this. Cell gets 4 kills right there. Like this is still doable. We just have to like, you know, slide down to the beach and get on the point and like do what we need to do. Like he's trying to fucking challenge that fucking insane head glitch or whatever. He doesn't get that fucking done. And then once CleanX gets pushed up, it's kind of chalked. Like this is like kind of what chalks it. CleanX is able to stall time and do that. Even though like he's able to get pushed up and push pressure, it's still just like tough. I don't know. We just don't end up actually like getting down the slide on the beach. And I thought Alec was gonna make the play right here, by the way, when he was pinching. So like through this entire shit right here, as like all this is going on this side of the map, look at Alec. Alec thought he was making the play, bro. Tell me you don't think he loses composure right here. Watch this. Watch this. If BZ got the kill in the back, we probably win. And then like, dude, like just look at this. Alec thinks he makes the play, and then he gets teammated. Tyler's throwing a teammate at number 3, so like it makes sense of why he throws that. But bro, if that kill goes down, we probably have a really good chance of winning this because we have ring control again. And then Alec loses fucking composure, and he's like, no fucking way. Like, dude, if he does not die to that teammate right there, we probably win this round. And then we don't win this round, and now it's like fuck. And even though it's more or less like, you know, kind of, you know, it sucks that we lost an offense. It's like that could have been the one, you know, that obviously go up 2-0 and then obviously just close it out after that, most likely. But yeah, so can't really do anything about that. The teammate just kind of comes in and really chalks that. We had 2 really good opportunities to win that offense, and we kind of threw both times. But at the same time, it is what it is. Like, that was still a good offense. The lives are in our favor. We're probably going to get defense last. You know, we're in a good spot. We're controlling the game. And then this defense, if I remember correctly, this defense was more or less like, yeah, it came down to this. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. But we troll this. So we like, this is like where we troll, like right here. Like the biggest thing right here to back it up is like, you know, 9 seconds left. We get like, we're trying to fight for ring control. It looked like, you know, we're chalking A. As soon as like we decide to chalk A, like obviously they're capping A. There's no one in the sense of like, what's it called? In the sense of just like what's going on. Like obviously we're just going to play B defense here. This kill like right here is like the, like, you know, we lose ring control in a sense after this by him dying. And then him dying right here is just tough because like, you know, it's a useless death in the sense where it like loses us like map control. And then like, you know, that's just like an unfortunate death for us not to be taking. And then it leads to like us like obviously losing ring control, but then having to regain it back. But like, you know, those deaths and stuff are just like unnecessary control sometimes when you're playing it. Like we were chalking A. So that was just like an unfortunate mistake. Like it is what it is. Shit happens. And then Abizi's like, you know, trying to fight off the back by himself now because he died in ring. And he's just not in a good position. But now they're able to like push through. They do their thing. They get on the point. They watch the pinch. And now like it's more or less like the pressure is on us to push them. Where like it all comes down to like as soon as we capped A, like we needed to play a better setup after the A cap and we didn't. We don't play a good setup or a good enough setup after they're capping A, like while they're capping A. We don't like fully chalk A like I was saying, and then since we don't fully chalk A, it kind of leads them to get a lot of like what's it called? It kind of leads them, you know, to do that. Is Celibate to blame here? Too far put spawned up? No. I mean, it's at this point in time. At this point in time right here, you like this moment, you can't blame this guy. Like, because again, if they all come through this side, then you're saying like, why the fuck don't you have anyone pushed out like that? It's like, it just comes down to the fact that like, we didn't fully chalk A. And then after we don't fully chalk A, our post game, like our post A setup, like the post A cap setup is just bad. And then once it's bad, like once this moment happens, the pressure becomes like, the pressure is onto you. Like where like, yeah, you're saying you got 2v4'd, but like, dude, like, Tyler can't really do anything from here with the sub. Like the 2v4, like this is a lot easier to do in a 2v4 than you think. Again, like you should still have better teamwork in my opinion, where like you see how like separate we are. Like watch, like we're obviously separate and no one gets on the fucking point and stuff. Like we could have done that way better. I'm not disagreeing with that. Like we could talk about that, but like it's just this moment leading to this moment. Like we should have avoided this moment at all costs, and we don't. Like we had like 2 or 3 opportunities to avoid this moment. And we don't, and then we lead to like us getting fucking just like smoked. I can't really go more in depth than that because obviously I would love to, but I can't. But yeah. But then again, either way, here we are. We go down to this moment in this control, and we fucking do it anyway. Like, bro, they trolled right back that we trolled. This is like literally what team control fucking harder. But you think we get 3-1'd here, and we don't. Like, this is the craziest part. You think, like, you know, we get 3-1'd here because, like, it's a defense that, you know, they get the defense, and we end up fucking winning this. Like, both teams are just straight trolling. Like, they let Tyler into their base. Tyler now opens up their base. Now they don't know where Tyler is. We get the kill on the point. We're all over the point. And now, like, this should be our game to win because, you know, the pressure's on for Toronto Ultra. And again, like avoiding this moment at all costs, like no matter how good you are of a team, like once this moment happens anything can fucking happen. All these gunfights get fucking crazy. You can see Toronto Ultra is like a little bit split. Like, it's just so fucking weird, dude. And now it's a 5v3. Now it's just not Ultras around the win anymore. You know what I mean? So like avoiding that moment of all costs is like exactly what we were just talking about. Like Ultra kind of does the same thing that we just did. And even though they're trying to do like what they can do, they just don't have the lives to do it. And then they lose. So it's just like, you know, little mistakes from both teams are allowing this shit to happen. And then after this, dude, like this round just comes to the break. This round comes to the break. Like, look. So like we shut down their B push, but we don't. Sorry, back it up. We shut down their B push, and this is bad communication in my opinion. You kill Cammy, you killed Bance, and you just killed CleanX earlier, right? So you know the only person that hasn't died this round is Insight. You got to call out Insight. Where is Insight? If he's not on A and you don't see him top out, you know what I'm saying? Like, you say Insight's making the plays, but like the only reason why plays like this happen, first of all, they happen all the time in Call of Duty. But the only reason why plays like this happen is bad communication. No one knows where Insight is. And then this kill, again, like you can see that everyone on Atlanta FaZe here is just forward. No one even expects Insight to be behind them because they don't track the kills. Bad communication, you don't track the kills. Insight gets the kill. And again, once he gets on this point, also, if you don't all, you know, these guys might not have nades because they're off spawn and stuff. You don't know if they have their nades and stuff. This is a lot, like a lot of these gunfights go to Insight because of this head glitch. You know what I mean? So the kills aren't getting tracked. We get flanked. And then it's just done. He gets blown up by a barrel because that barrel fucking hates Atlanta FaZe. And then you see what I mean? Like now he's got to try and win this fight, but he's still got to get the point. Like people off the point. He dies, and like again, it just becomes like the damage is getting done. And now even if we were to get him off after this second tick, the damage is done where we don't have lives anymore. They have 2 ticks on B. If they cap A, like this is Toronto's round to win in my opinion now. You know what I mean? And it all comes down to the fact that we don't track kills. We don't track kills. He flanks us. He gets on the point. We're not able to regain in general. Like there's other stuff that we can talk about, but you know, we're not going to go like crazy with it. And then at this point, we're fucked. I will say one thing. We almost do put them in a demon trap here where like Chris and shit, everyone starts going crazy on the cliff. Like Simp goes crazy on this cliff. He's getting a bunch of kills. MC's getting a bunch of kills. Like Toronto almost trolls back. But like we were just saying, if you're Toronto and you're going to control the like that round 5 the way they did, and we're not going to count kills in round 5, you're going to lose. Like Toronto put themselves in the driver's seat. So even when they had a couple of hiccups in their game, they were able to like obviously still regain from it. And that just like, it is what it is. Yeah, Simp went unkillable here for a little bit on the cliff. But it's just, it just wasn't enough with the lives and obviously A and stuff. You see what I mean? Like Simp's doing his best at cliff, but that gunfight off over there just becomes like the, you know, the icing on the cake of him being loose in our spawn, turns one of us around, and as soon as it turns us around, we like, you know, we still like lose ring control and we have to turn around here. Him getting that kill. It's just tough, dude. Like Insight makes a play here, and it is what it is. You can't really expect them to win this round in the fashion that it went. The fact that we almost did win this round is pretty crazy, but it just becomes Insight making these plays and being annoying in our base is the one that like shuts it down, and then Sim finally goes down in their kill. So like we almost regain here with the talent that we have on this roster to do like some of the impossible shit, but it all comes down to the fact that like you can't put yourself in a situation like this, and that situation all stems from a lack of communication, in my opinion. You said look at number 4 spawn. What? You should spawn alley right here, like behind him. Yeah. So these spawns again are Vanguard, where they don't make sense. Like why wouldn't number 4 just spawn with number 2, or number 2 just spawn with number 4? Like why are they splitting? But like it's just, this game is fluky with spawns. Like look, he's number 2 right there, and the number 4 spawns right there. Like obviously these are hard reads, but Simp is probably calling out right now like they're spawning truck or they're spawning alley. Like he should know like they're spawning either side. It's just stupid that they don't spawn together. But again, as annoying as that is, and as annoying as like, you know, like how stupid that is, like that's Vanguard for you. Like if your main complaint is that spawn of why we lost this round, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, some of those situations do happen, which it does suck, but that's why in Call of Duty Vanguard, in my opinion, being perfect and not making mistakes is huge, because like these mistakes are going to happen to you so much because Vanguard is just Vanguard, and it is what it is. You can complain about it all you want. Like, obviously, we would love a better spawn system. No fucking shit. But, like, if you're not perfect enough to the point where you put yourself in these situations consistently where, like, these spawns can affect your game, it sucks. And again, when you play a really good team, Toronto Ultra, you know, Optic, London, like, all, like, you know, that, like all these really good teams, like, some of these teams are so talented in this league, it's going to come down to the wire no matter what because you can't just be perfect. So it definitely does suck that Vanguard spawn system is, you know, kind of ass sometimes. But, like, at the same time, I'm not going to disregard the fact that our communication was dog shit, that we let Inside flank us. You know what I mean? Are you listening to the comms when they're playing or no? I can, yeah. Like, I'm in their team speak. I can't talk, though, but I can listen to their comms. So, yeah. We lose. And then that was kind of a troll. Like, we should have definitely won that, like, 1,000,000,000%. We lost 2 defenses, and that offense that we lost obviously was a troll. So, like, we should have 100% won that. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, but we still end up making mistakes that, like, cost us. But, again, those mistakes that cost us are not consistent mistakes in the sense where it's like, you know, we can easily fix some of them. And also, like, you know, the communication and stuff, like, we can easily fix. Like, it definitely sucks. It's definitely frustrating. It's definitely, like, a trolly thing. But, like, again, it's still a step forward, and it's still a major qualifier. We're going to keep, obviously, working on it until it gets better. And also, hopefully, the next time we play Gavutu Control 2, it's decided by ticks, and that might just change the meta of how the map's played, like, in the earlier rounds. So we'll see. I'm excited to see how it plays out. And then here, this Tuscan, like, Tuscan Hardpoint's a good map for us. Ultra has been struggling in Hardpoint. This is kind of where it gets scary for us, but we end up, like, mounting a comeback, so we'll watch it from, like, right here. Like, Ultra does a really good job of rotating, like they're saying. They're controlling this. Like, this break is a lot harder sometimes than it seems. Like, this P2 is like a money hill, like, you know, like the way it can play out. So we're trying to, like, you know, perform a break on a hill that's really hard to break sometimes. Toronto Ultra goes up, and now this is, like, where it's like, oh, shit, like, you know, we got to fucking kick up right fucking now. That fight's big, but number 8's, like, here to play the pocket.
Good 10 seconds of scrap that went over towards Ultra there. They will play that game. That's absolutely no problem. They got controller broken here as well. So this
is a good break out of Toronto. Now you're sitting there like, oh shit, dude. So, like, our holds right here weren't that good. Our holds right here weren't that good. Like, we weren't holding that well. We're getting flipped. Like, this isn't a good spot to be in again. We end up, like, you know, this break right here all stems from them leaving a gap open. Like, Toronto usually leaves a huge gap open in the middle of the map. And, like, them leaving this, and, like, number 2, like, it being stuck on the guy in the back is, like, really big for us. Like, they can't leave that gap open like that for a team like us to take advantage of it. And they do. And then Alec getting that 3-piece is all because Toronto Ultra made that mistake. I don't know if that's a comm mistake or whatever it is, but they cannot do that, dude.
Huge kills.
BZ gets it, and now the rotation will have to be in. This game still rests on a knife edge for both teams. A single decent rotation for FaZe could wrest control away from Ultra.
Oh, I actually absolutely love that.
And then here, like, we're in a good spot here. We have the spawns that we want. We know they're spawning P2. We're calling out that they're spawning P2, so we're fine.
Lockdown everywhere. They need to look at the spawns here for Ultra.
FaZe's listening was good, if I remember. Where was it? Was it earlier in the map? Am I tripping? Oh, it was right here. We can listen back into it after. We'll watch the comeback, and then we'll listen in the map. Yeah, and, like, this hold for us is also, like, this all just comes down to the fact that, like, Toronto Ultra could have really, like, stomped this map out if they didn't leave that fucking wide gap open through middle of their P3. And then, like, you know, as soon as you make a mistake like that against a team like us, it's the same thing I always say, like, when we make mistakes against teams like Toronto, London, Optic, and shit. Like, again, being perfect in this game is just fucking tough, dude. Like, you got to do it. You got to limit your mistakes, especially with how competitive this league is. Like, if you don't limit your mistakes, you're going to get screwed. Like, we made a bunch of fucking silly mistakes to let ourselves go down. And then the one mistake Toronto lets up on us, like, we take full advantage of. You know what I mean? They can't leave that gap wide open there. And the fact that they did, Alex able to run through the middle of the map with an AR and get a 3-piece.
bad hill if you're an Ultra fan. FaZe lock it in fantastic.
And then this hill is like, again, the mixiest hill of all fucking time. Grenade, 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 stun, grenade, stun, grenade, stun, grenade, stun. Like, team shots, grenade, stun, wallbang, grenade, stun, team shots, grenade, stun. Like, this hill is just a fucking mix, dude.
Just soaking up that time. The shots on through the window. Who's going to come out on top of these trades? Cellium, shots in. Is he going to be able to find the gunfight? Finds one. Can he find the second as well on the bounce? Not quite. Still Ultra kind of in control. Pushing forward as well. Just trying to force these spawns away. But once again, FaZe fight back.
Well, both teams just throwing bodies at this one as well. I actually have no idea who's going to end up winning. It's Cellium desperate to stay alive. So that's huge. Insight does get
And again, they do. Ultra does a really good job of actually winning majority of this time.
decides to lock that one off for a second. They want this scrap time. They want to see if they can end it here as well.
BZ goes huge here. That was a massive gunfight. Because even though like they like get some kills here, we're able to overwhelm them in the trades like through the middle of the map. Like Tyler opening up that rotation while we were getting what's it called? While we were getting fucking like scrap time was huge. And MC goes fucking huge by winning his gunfight. Then we're fucking good to go. Like this was just fucking everyone on our team just went fucking massive at the end right there, to be honest with you. Yeah, the P5 is ridiculous, dude. Yeah. And that kill too right there, like dude. Like this kill right here is like so underrated, but like look at the setup that Toronto Ultra is running. So like if you notice, like look at number 2. Number 2 takes the longest route of all long routes, bro. We're not going to read this. This is a good fucking play. Who is it? Cammy? So Cammy makes a really good play here, right? We're not going to read this long route. MC's in a 2v1. If MC does not get a kill here, we probably lose this game. If MC dies right here, we probably lose this game. Because, like, look at our setup. This guy gets that kill middle. If there's two Toronto Ultra members right here, we're done. We lose. Like, MC wins us the game right there. Plain and simple. Like, a BC goes off, everyone goes off there. But if MC does not get that kill right there, we lose the game. And MC able to get that kill leads a 1-on-1 for a BC to win instead of a 2-on-1. And once it becomes a 2-on-1 and a 1-on-1, it's like the complete, like, that is the only reason why all those 1-on-1s were able to be taken, is because the only 2-on-1 that Toronto Ultra had, MC shut it down by getting his first kill. If MC dies right there, this is a 2v1 fight for number 7. He loses it. Number 8 wins this 1-on-1. Then he has to take a 1-on-1 and then another 1-on-1. He's not going to win it. We have no one in the, like, no one even close. We lose the game. Like, MC completely wins us the game right there. And then Simp and Nabizi are able to play their 1-on-1s like that because of MC's first kill. Like, he completely shut down their setup right there with that. And then after that, we have Berlin SND, map that obviously we like. You know, we played it a bunch. I actually, you want to hear something funny? Hold up. Right here, I almost threw a fucking fit, dude. I almost went fucking insane. I thought they were loading in on Tuscan SND. I was like, bro, we vetoed Tuscan. I was like, I vetoed Tuscan. We are not playing this map. This map is not happening. I was like, I know for a fucking fact that I said I vetoed Tuscan SND. If this map gets started and it is Tuscan, I was like, this is coming to an end. I was like, we vetoed Tuscan. I am not playing Tuscan. I thought there was like a huge mistake that was made. I was like, no. Are we playing the map that we vetoed map 5 on some fucking bullshit, like, you know, mistype or something? I thought we were about to play Tuscan S&D game 5. I was about to be like, what the fuck are we doing here? I lost absolute full. Composure was out the window, dude. And then this Saturday, I was like, okay. So yeah. Definitely scary right there, considering the map we vetoed was almost the map that was fucking played game 5. At first. Don't check our corners there.
That was tough because the stun goes out. It just doesn't connect at the time. Not that grenade actually.
Then here we start off hot. Like right here. So we start off hot. We go up 3-0. Then we start trolling a little bit, but not like nothing too crazy.
The old shoulder roll from Atlanta FaZe, just warming up. The old neck crack saying, all right, you've had your fun, Ultra. It's time for us to take over.
Well, can Ultra maybe find a different route into this game? If that grenade kills anybody, I don't know what to say, but Arsedy's another first blood. That's 4 in a row now for the side.
Good trades.
Atlanta FaZe, as this is going to open up for clean.
So then we're in a 2v2. But I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, this was just well played, like out of like inside them. I don't think we communicate that the bomb is down too. Which is also like the reason why we're so separate. I don't like that we're so separate in this 2v2. But like I don't think that the bomb is communicated that it's down there either. And since it's not communicated that it's down right there, like we try and make too much of plays. We definitely should have been together either way. But like we can't do that and like leave our player in a 1v2. And then here's a question that I'll like, you know, ask you guys. Like I'm not going to give you the answer for me. But like he's on a 5 streak. He's in a 1v2. Do you think he plays his 5 streak and plays for streaks or no? Instead of going for the 2v1? We knew the bomb was down? I thought Alex said he was. I'm pretty sure Alec yesterday said that they didn't know the bomb was down. Alec literally said it yesterday in the team speak that he said that the bomb wasn't down. That they didn't know the bomb was down. He said no one called the bomb down. You say chow that shit? I disagree. Chris told me they knew. Oh, then maybe they were on different pages then. I don't know. Or maybe Alec was talking about a different round then. Maybe Alec was talking about a different round. Because Alex said on one of the rounds that he didn't know the bomb was down. I was thinking he was talking about this one. But yeah, like you go for the streak there or you don't. Like it's like it really doesn't really matter. Like a 1v2 is just so doable. It was so doable that it was so doable that like he could have 1v2'd. But at the same time, like that streak is obviously huge. Being up 3-0, you probably don't do that. You know what I mean? Yeah, Alec might have been talking about a different round than RJ. Because I could have swore Alex said that.
This is where Atlanta FaZe have done so well already. Into position that Peasy might be able to get around the back here. Nobody's actually ready to go. Can he manage to take
Then we start trolling here. Nice little 2-piece. You know, a nice little response to 2v2. He's not going to expect the third guy behind him. Leaves an MC in a 1v1. And an MC just kind of gets caught, like, you know, waiting around. He's like hoping that he can, like, obviously find a pick. He doesn't find a pick. Vance ends up behind him. One-on-one clutch doesn't go in his favor. Like, you know, it is. It is what it is. But then, you know, going forward here, like right this round right here.
Hodger have left the bomb here. I'm not sure that's a viable strategy. And they just go for split and pick.
It's a late bomb pickup, so they probably know that it's a bit of
Caught timing at his finest. Yeah, that was tough.
Sim might get caught out here though. Got another grenade
Tough.
well. Yeah, you do. There you go.
They like, you know, they figured out like what to do to get like a first blood there. That was a good round out of them.
Pick from Ultra 4v3.
Now Ultra got to figure out where they're going to go with this one. They've been playing the middle of the map.
BZ responds with some random ass grenade too. 3v3.
I think he's actually aiming for top 3 there, and you can see that Cammy's died back towards the tank next to P5.
Yeah, I think that might have been a lucky grenade, to be honest.
Arsedy's Overwatch across the B side of the map. It's a very difficult push now for Ultra. They do have the bomb though. They do have a decision to make here. Salim with the shots into Bans. Arsedy's will find him. A little bit of info comes out through, but
and it goes to 2v2. Yeah, then dude, look at Alex grenade right here, dude.
It's a 2v2. Retai's gonna have to come in.
That nade saved their fucking ass this round, that's for sure. And then I love the setup that they played here, where like he's watching the cross and then he's got his back. Like this was such a perfect play here. Although I got a little scared. Like watch, I thought this was gonna be like the insta trade right here, and I'm like, hello? And then he gets the kill. So that was a really good nade out of that, and then you can see where he throws this nade from. I think they show it in this broadcast right here.
I'd love to see that grenade.
Yeah, it's right here. Look.
Where does that come from? No shot.
He bounced it like perfectly in. Yeah.
I mean,
Whoop. That was a really good grenade out of Alec to throw there. He could have thrown the roof 1-2 as well, but he throws that and he gets that kill, and then I don't know. They definitely, Ultra definitely played that slow, Vonti, for sure. I see what you're saying with that. And then this just comes down to, like, we try and do an A push. We're looking for some kills. We get information. Simp gets that. So Simp gets this kill on the pinch. They try and do in like a pretty predictable pinch, and as soon as this first blood goes, this is our fucking map. This is like our round to win. Especially having a guy like top 3. Yeah, like this is like becomes our round to win. We're able to pick up on the pinch. We pick up on the pinch. We get a kill trying to pinch, and then after that, it's a 4v2, and then we win the series. So like overall, that Gavutu control, like we control the entire game for no reason and we lose it. The Tuscan we make a good comeback on, which was nice. So like, you know, and then the Bocage, we control the entire game just to lose it too. Like there was 2 maps where like we were controlling the game and we lost, which is like the frustrating thing. But again, like if you're able to win series against good teams still, like, you know, like with those mistakes, that's a good thing. But that's also a very big learning experience, you know, coming from that. Like, you know, even though you win, like obviously just being the coach of the team, like I can tell you, like we still have a lot to like still, you know, perfect and polish. So it's a good thing, but we definitely have to, what's it called? We definitely have to get you know, get back in the lab and get a better week of practice. I said this before and I would say it again, like after the Surge game, we talked about like changing our culture in practice and like making sure it's like way more productive. We've definitely done a good job of that. And we've done a good job of that into the point where like if we would have lost this Toronto series, I wouldn't have been mad in the sense of like, you know, the work ethic of the players. It would have been frustrating because there was a lot of mistakes that shouldn't have been happening. But like we got a good week of practice. We got better. We have a game plan, and now we just got to execute it better and keep working on the game plan. So I've been super happy with the way scrims have been going. And that's just kind of it. So I'm super excited, obviously, for the next week of scrims. I love scrimming with like this team and like, you know, especially the culture that we have going right now. We're going to keep trying getting better and better. So that was the W podcast. I'll take a few questions before we obviously end it. It's better to lose now than at the major. Well, these qualifier matches are all super important to get in the winner's bracket, but at the same time, you also like this is the best practice you'll ever get. You know what I mean? That's why every time we lose this coin flip, I'm actually not mad because we're just getting really good Gavutu control practice. You know what I mean? So this is all really good practice, especially if you're able to sneak out wins and still learn from winning. Learning from winning is more fun than learning from losing, but we're still getting way better. Do you prefer the Cold War seedings or this year's? I think this year's seeding is kind of stupid. I like the way Cold War did it last year. The reason why I think it's kind of stupid is just because like it's just like you don't control who you play, and like so it's just kind of weird. Like, you know, sometimes you like, you know, you play these teams and like you're playing really like good and like, but then like sometimes your runs is harder than other teams' runs, so it's like you get a seed that you feel like you don't deserve. At the end of the day, like whoever you get dealt with, if you go 2-3, you go 2-3. That's on you. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to win your matches no matter what. Like that's not an excuse, but I definitely think it's a little weird and inconsistent though. Do you think control gets better after changing the ticks? I think it helps us out a bit, but I still think we need some of the mistakes that we're making are more than just ticks or kills, you know? So I think it's a little bit of both. Are you sure you're losing the coin flip, or are you picking that map? You know, I'm losing the coin flip. You can see who's picking the map. But I wouldn't be against picking the map every fucking series is kind of like what I'm saying too. In the sense where like we can still win the series and we can also like, that's not an excuse just to lose. Like that shouldn't just be an automatic L. Like we should have won that fucking good Gavutu right there. You know what I mean? Thoughts on Havoc declining Paris? That didn't even happen. But what's it called? I already talked about the Havoc situation with NYSL. If you're talking about the NYSL thing, we talked about that yesterday's podcast. Have you guys been scrimming Optic? No, we play each other in a week. You usually don't scrim the team that you're about to play. Thoughts on only 8 teams playing at Champs again this year? Though I don't mind it. I don't care. I think personally, I think there has to be something that makes the league and the majors important. Like they're obviously important, and like, you know, you want to win, but I think, you know, you shouldn't be able to go 0-30 and then go to Champs, in my opinion. Like, you know what I mean? Like there should be some like importance to the regular season. Like, I don't even care if like your argument is like, well, what if they get really good at the end of the year? It's like, well, that's a management, a coaching, and a team decision to not get shit on all year, in my opinion. Like, you should not be allowed to be an absolute embarrassment all year, and then maybe you make a trade or two at the end of the year and just like win Champs. That's stupid. Like, you know what I mean? What about starting them in losers? I still think that's being too nice. I think that's a reasonable compromise for sure. Like, I think that's a reasonable compromise for sure. Like, I see where you're coming from, but that's still a free pass. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, isn't the whole point of competing, especially in like a regular season-esque kind of thing, like not suck and win? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, look at like sports. Like, you know what I mean? Like, imagine you can just go like 0-16 in the NFL and be like, we're going to the playoffs. Like, you're like, what? Like, I don't know. Like, I think that's dumb. Like, I just feel like it. I feel like it makes the regular season just more important. And that's why I was saying, like, you know, people always talk about blowing up teams and making roster changes. like, I understand, like, why you want to make that because you want to make champs. So, like, there's a line to where you blow up your teams and stuff. Like, I don't know. Perfect example is, like, Seattle last year. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know. You should not be able to, like, not, this isn't about Seattle, but just in general, like, you should not be able to have a shitty attitude all year, chalk the year, like, you know, have, like, bad practice all year, you know, like, go through this whole entire blender and just be like, yeah, I'm going to champs, and then all of a sudden be able to make a run. Like, I don't know. I think, like, the whole point, tell that to Ace in World War II. What? Because weren't they like shit before the World War II champs thing? That's what I mean. But they also got second in an event right before that. They got second, then they got shit on, and then they went to champs. Like, that team getting second place probably would have put them over the edge in standings. Where, like, that's what I'm saying. He would have been there. Like, that's not a good argument. Like, your argument's actually probably wrong. They got second at an event, so they probably wouldn't have been in the bottom by getting a second at an event. So, like, that, even with your argument, like, they didn't just get shit on all fucking year. Like, I don't know. And also, the format back then was just different. So if you're using that as a comparison, it's just a different comparison. Like, that's just not how it is. World War II champ still hurts me as a FaZe fan. Yeah, try being a player on FaZe. I fucking think about it every day, bro. That was fucking one of the biggest chokes of all time, bro. It was so fucking sad. That was a fucking heartbreaker, dude. But whatever. Moving on. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it's fucking, I think it's fucking crazy to expect to be at the World Championship tournament after being shit all year, in my opinion. Like, I know that sounds like obviously messed up maybe to some people, but I think in a competitive world, in a competitive environment, that's just a part of how the world works. I don't know. Like, you shouldn't just be handed a pass to the World Championship tournament if you suck. That's the whole point of competing. I don't know. I feel like that's silly. Why doesn't the CDL Grand Finals formats team... I've been saying this for fucking 3 years. I don't know. I still cannot believe that we're playing best of 9 finals and the team that comes through winners has no advantage. It is the most absurd thing in the world. It's fucking stupid. It's fucking silly. It's just dumb. Like, bro, we played Optic. We shouldn't have played a fair series versus Optic. The fact that we actually started 0-0 is stupid. Every finals we were in last year, other than the one that we played versus NYSL, we were through the winners bracket. We got no advantage. Bro, we played Toronto in the World Championship final last year and lost map 1 and went down 0-1 after not losing a series to get to the final. Like, do you think how fucking stupid that is? Like, dude, the league format is fucking dumb. Like, with that. I've been saying this for fucking years. I don't understand how we're still playing. Like, there is legitimately no reason to be in a final through winners. You know what the Optic advantage was in the final this year in Major 1? You want to know what they got? They got the Veto Bocage. That's it. That is literally it. They got the Veto Bocage. And they picked map 1. Like what the fuck? Like what? Like, dude. Like that, like, bro, do you understand how dumb that is? And like, this is coming from someone that I've been on both sides of this and I've kept my take. So like, you can tell that I'm not fucking biased. Like, I've come from the losers and we should have been down 0-1. I've come from the winners. We should have been up 1-0, 1-0. And then in the finals of champs in MW, we started down 0-1 to Dallas, and that was fair. That was fair. I don't know. You're obviously correct on the final structure, but what is the leads logic? The only thing I've ever heard, and I don't know if this is true, so take this with a grain of salt, is that it's confusing for the viewer. That, like, it's confusing that, like, why would a team start down in 1-0? I don't know if that's true. But in my world, with the opinion I have on this topic, there is not a single argument of why it should not just be a best of 9 with 1-0. There isn't. Like, I don't know. You really couldn't tell me. Why don't teams talk to the league and change? I don't know, dude. Like, I'm not a manager. I don't talk. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how it is. It's just that's the only thing I've ever thought. And again, that is a grain of salt. Like, take that with a grain of salt, because I don't know if that was an actual argument or not. I've just, like, heard shit before. So remember, like, I have no fucking actual idea. But I've been saying this for years, bro. You cannot tell me that, like, there is no point to win in winners. Like, essentially speaking, when we played Optic and they beat us, you know, when they went on to winners finals and they beat London, essentially speaking, that series meant absolutely nothing. In the sense, like, where we could have came back and beat them in the final, and then it would have just been like, well, what the fuck's the point? And especially when you play a final, like, remember last year versus Dallas when we went map 9? You understand if Dallas won that map 9 last year and we lost Major 4 to map 9 versus Dallas, how fucking ridiculous that would have been? Like, what the fuck was the point of us winning the fucking winners finals? For them to force the map 9. Like, we should have won that already. Don't get me wrong, the format's the format and we have to adapt to the format, so we won, and, like, you know, you can't use that as an excuse because the format's the format. But what the fuck is the point of being allowed to lose and then be able to play like, what is the point of a lose? Like, I don't get it. You can't explain it to me. I just can't. You'll never change my mind. I don't know. And also, there's an argument too. Like, there's two sides of the argument, but, like, you know, the team that's sitting in fucking winners and just waiting is sitting on their hands, waiting while a team is, like, getting hot through a loser's bracket run. You know what I mean? But realistically, low key, like, the losers, like, sometimes can get a little momentum swing. Like, I don't know. We could talk about this forever. You guys know I have a hot take on that, and I get really fucking worked up considering I think it's fucking silly. I think there's no logic to it, but I don't know. Hopefully one day we see it. Again, if that one day could end up working against my team, I wouldn't care. You know, if we come through losers and we're down 0-1, we deserve it. Like, not a hot take, but I'm very opinionated on it. Is my, like, I'm very, like, usually when I argue things, I can see, like, both sides. You know what I mean? Usually when I argue things, I can see both sides of stuff, and, like, you know, I can be like, yeah, you know, like, I understand that side. I see where you're coming from, but, like, personally, I still think, like, that's not, like, enough of an argument to, like, you know, really change my opinion. Like, yeah, I'm usually pretty rational. You know what I mean? Like, where I can go both sides and, like, kind of, like, figure it out, put myself in, like, open-minded. No, there's no open-mindedness for me on this. I don't understand. That's just silly, in my opinion. It's just like there's no open-mindedness to it. Like, I don't see how we're doing it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Never will. All right. Well, that's the podcast. I appreciate you guys watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. If you guys don't watch my YouTube, or you guys want to watch all the content that we have to post, it's always on YouTube and stuff. So you guys go to the YouTube right now. You subscribe to the channel and watch it. YouTube's been popping off. I appreciate it.